Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto finds his love from training trip. Before I start, please support for more amazing content, and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Kagami1228, and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1, Training Trip? Empty. That was a good term for how he was feeling. Not the thought of having nothing, even though he did indeed return with nothing. It was the feeling of emptiness that seeped through his body. He felt hollow. I will go to Orochimaru. Naruto, my lifelong wish. I will definitely bring Sasuke back. That's the promise of a lifetime. It all seemed like ages ago, but it was his last 24 hours. Blue eyes shifted from the slashed Konoha headband on his lap to the door of his hospital room. There he saw a pink-haired Kunoichi entering. Sakura-chan, said the boy in a whisper. The girl walked up to him before inspecting his appearance. His blonde hair was visible still, but everywhere else was bandaged from his head to his toes. I'm sorry. I tried to bring. Why were you apologizing? Things happen, you know, spoke Sakura with a laugh. She cut him off as the blonde continued to look down. The fake laughter didn't fool him. It's not your fault. It's not anyone's fault. I'm sorry, repeated the boy as Sakura shook her head. You know, you look like a mummy wrapped up like that, Naruto, said Sakura as she walked to the room's window. She pulled back the curtains to allow the sunlight to shine inside. It's such a beautiful day outside, and the weather's been so nice. You should keep these open so, Sakura-chan. I'm going to bring him back. It's a lifelong promise, said Naruto, causing Sakura to stop talking. She turned to see determination shining in his blue eyes. I'll keep my promise. I'll bring Sasuke back. Naruto, it's alright. I never go back on my word, said Naruto with a smile. A thumbs up followed as he nodded his head. It's my ninja way, Databayo. Sakura tensed her hands, biting her bottom lip, looking at Naruto. A smile found its way on Sakura's face after hearing Naruto's words. Sakura then headed for the door as Naruto watched her leave. Before exiting, Sakura turned her head back. I know you will, Naruto. And just so you know, said Sakura, confidence heavy in her voice. I'm coming with you next time. We'll get him back together. Naruto nodded his head as the door closed, and he was left alone. His loneliness didn't last long as he looked to the window to see a man there. It's time to go, Gaki. Training trip time, said the man as Naruto nodded his head. Shed those bandages and meet me at the east gate. The man jumped off the windowsill and disappeared into the village below after his words. Naruto turned his eyes back to the slashed Konoha headband on his lap as he gripped it tightly. Hope you get better, Sasuke. I'm coming for you. 2 weeks later. Maybe this wasn't the best idea, said the man who'd appeared in Naruto's window. The same man who'd taken Naruto on a training trip, and he was staring down a rather dangerous Naruto at the moment. Who knew the Kyuubi was so strong? This man was Jiraiya, the famed toad sage of Mount Maiboku. The man was renowned and respected as one of the most powerful people on the planet. He was a tall man with spiky white hair, 2 bangs framing his face, and the rest flowed down his back in a ponytail. He was wearing a green short shirt kimono with matching pants, under which he wore a mesh armor that showed out of the legs and sleeves of his outfit. His outfit was completed with handguards, a simple black belt, traditional Japanese geta, a red haori with 2 yellow circles on each side, and a large scroll strapped to his back parallel to his waist, though currently, he had a large gash in his chest as he sat slumped in the corner of a small clearing. A passed-out Naruto lay in the middle of it, the boy's body glowing with red chakra. The red chakra slowly disappeared over time as a seal was attached to his forehead. The seal was forcibly suppressing the potent red chakra the boy was exuding. The fox's chakra is too powerful. It consumed him when he went to 2 tails and especially when he hit 4, thought Jiraiya as he breathed in and out slowly from his most recent injury. That might leave a scar. Wonder if the ladies will like it? Hours later. None of it, huh? Questioned Jiraiya with his chest wrapped heavily in bandages. He sat on his hotel room bed, looking at his student. Naruto sat in a lotus position on the floor with his eyes closed. Not one thing about earlier? Nothing, Ero-sennin. I can't remember a thing after you said you were going to loosen my seal, said Naruto as Jiraiya shook his head. I guess it was a bit soon to test your Jinchuriki ability? Questioned Jiraiya with a pained laugh. He grabbed his chest before smiling. You're hard to put down when you go berserk like that, even for me. The Kyuubi's chakra is phenomenal. Naruto frowned, hearing that as he looked at his teacher. The man was hurt by whatever Naruto did when the Kyuubi took control of his body, but the man was only praising it. Naruto could understand why, because power was something to be respected, not feared, but Naruto didn't want it if it came at the cost of conscious thought, and thus he nodded his head before placing a hand over his stomach where his seal resided. I don't want to learn how to control my Jinchuriki powers, said Naruto as Jiraiya looked toward him with a curious eye. Naruto was all aboard the idea since Jiraiya promised it'd be one of his greatest assets someday. But one day into trying to harness the Kyuubi's power, and he was denouncing it? At least not yet. In my fight with Sasuke, with Gaara, and even Neji, I relied heavily on the Kyuubi. I get that it's a part of me, and I should use it, but why not teach me how to fight without it first? Maybe by getting stronger everywhere else, I can control the QB better since I'll be stronger. Does that make sense? Jiraiya stared at Naruto for a good 10 seconds before responding. Who the hell are you, and what have you done with Naruto? Asked Jiraiya, getting a laugh from Naruto. Naruto rubbed a hand behind his head as Jiraiya didn't believe this was the same kid. It makes a lot of sense. When did you get intelligent, brat? I don't think I did. I just was thinking, I guess. Sounds smarter. I can teach you how to ninja. It's what I do, said Jiraiya with a grin. Maybe you're right. We shouldn't focus on the QB up front. Let's work on those other attributes. You are a Chunin after all. Need to be more than a one-trick pony. Chunin? What do you mean? I never got promoted. Tsunadeheim realized she overlooked Yugaki. You certainly did more than enough to earn promotion with defending the village from the Ichibi, said Jiraiya, reaching over the side of his bed. Naruto watched Jiraiya pick up a Konoha Chunin vest as his eyes widened. Jiraiya handed the boy the vest and watched him simply stare at it. Put it on. You know you want to. Naruto levitated into a stand as he took off his orange jacket. He left on his mesh undershirt and slipped the vest right over it. Naruto felt good and looked better. He was a Chunin. There was a detail that he couldn't overlook. It doesn't match my orange, does it? Questioned Naruto as he looked at Jiraiya in the mirror. Jiraiya shook his head in the negative as Naruto let out a sigh. I might have to get new clothes then. Alright, that's it. You are Naruto, are you? Questioned Jiraiya again as Naruto frowned. His orange looked off with the vest on. And he was going to wear his vest. He earned it. By the way, you aren't officially a Chunin. I'm not. Questioned Naruto as he looked at Jiraiya quizzically. Why give me the vest then? Consider yourself a Tokubetsu Chunin, a special Chunin. You're not ready to lead a team, but you're better than that genin rank. So, you're a Tokubetsu Chunin, said Jiraiya before standing up abruptly, seemingly unaffected by the near-death blow he took earlier. I think beating a Bijou is Jonin material, but Haim's hating on my teaching skills. It doesn't matter because, as you requested, I will teach you how to be a ninja. We'll whip you into shape quick, fast, and in a hurry. You'll be the Rokudaime Hokage by the time we get back. Naruto smiled as he liked that plan. Naruto turned back to the mirror and stared at his reflection. Chunin meant he was a step closer to his goal. Chunin meant he was getting strong enough to bring Sasuke back. I'm coming, Sasuke. I won't break my promise to Sakura-chan Databayo. Before I teach you anything, we need to condition that body. Condition? I'm in shape. No, I mean condition, said Jiraiya, looking at Naruto ominously. Jiraiya gripped his shoulder painfully tight as he spoke robotically. I must break you. I must break you hard. Jiraiya let go of Naruto and nodded compassionately. His voice returned to normal as he looked sorrowfully at his young charge. Trust me. This is about to suck for you. I don't pull my punches, kid. Naruto frowned because he didn't know what he'd gotten himself into. This was not about to be pretty. And after the beatdowns, Naruto wouldn't be looking pretty either. Well, he did ask for it. Konoha 1 year later, Naruto aged 13. It's already been a year. Wow, the time is flying. Came the voice of a woman with short black hair and black eyes. I can't believe he's been gone for a year already. The woman was talking to another woman, a busted blonde, who sat at the desk in her office. Her office was dead center in the village she governed as its top ninja. That village is the peaceful Konoha. Konoha was a shinobi village, one of the world's strongest shinobi villages, and a member of the Great Five. Though appearance-wise, Konoha looked more like a civilian village. Even with the village appearing pedestrian, the world, begrudgingly in some cases, respected Konoha as the strongest village in the world, though the village leader cared not for it at the moment, as her mind was elsewhere. Her mind was on the other blonde who'd left the village a year ago to become stronger. She missed the kid's presence. It has become quiet, hasn't it, Shizen, said the woman, getting her assistant, Shizen, to nod in agreement. It has, Tsunade-sama. What do you think they're up to? Or where they are at currently? Questioned Shizen as Tsunade stood up with a shrug before checking herself out. Tsunade was a beautiful woman, appearing to look in her early 20s despite being over 50 years old. She has fair skin with brown eyes and straight, blonde hair tied back into two loose ponytails with bangs framing either side of her face. She wore a grass-green haori with the kanji for gamble on the back in black that sat inside a red circle. Underneath, she wears a gray, kimono-style blouse with no sleeves, held closed by a broad, dark bluish-gray obi that matches her pants. Finishing off her attire were strappy, open-toed sandals with high heels, red polish on her nails, and a violet mark in the middle of her forehead shaped like a diamond. I don't want to speculate. I pray Jiraiya is teaching the Gaki something, said Tsunade as she began to walk to her door. And not perving around. Now let's get to another one of these meetings. Shizen nodded her head as she followed after her sensei and leader. With Naruto and Jiraiya, how was this supposed to help me again, Erosenin? Questioned Naruto as he sat on a mountaintop. He was with Jiraiya as the man had a telescope out, and he was giggling while looking through it at the village near the base of the mountain. I always forget the purpose of this. Working on your patience, scouting abilities, and stealth, said Jiraiya as Naruto mouthed the same words. He already knew that bogus answer. Jiraiya noticed the mocking and ignored it before turning his sight back to the village. I'm glad you changed your clothes. You sucked as a wingman when you wore that orange eyesore. I could never do this back then since you stuck out so bad. That jumpsuit was fashion, and you know it. It was detachable Erosenin. Detachable, said Naruto, defending his last choice of attire. Naruto switched from the orange jumpsuit to something that matched his flak jacket. I like my new look, but I miss my jumpsuit. It was perfect. Naruto's new outfit was his Konoha flak jacket with a mesh, short-sleeved shirt underneath. Black pants and black shinobi sandals went with it, as he also changed his forehead protector from blue to black. He wasn't wearing the forehead protector or vest since he'd been training earlier. All he had on now was a black shirt and pants since Jiraiya dragged him from his training to do this. He could readily admit he looked more like a ninja now, but rest in paradise to his orange jumpsuit. You looked like an idiot back then. Especially since you were shorter too, said Jiraiya, whipping out another telescope and handing it to Naruto. The kid could call him a perv all he wanted, but he knew Naruto was curious about what Jiraiya himself was so interested in. It helped that the kid was also perverted. At least you're finally as tall as you should be. And still growing, good on ya. I knew I'd hit a growth spurt. Everyone in the academy can suck it for calling me short. Bet I'm taller than them now, said Naruto absent-mindedly, accepting the telescope. Naruto extended the scope and took a peek at the village without thinking. Naruto's face turned bright red before he put the telescope down and looked at Jiraiya. Where are we? And why does that village have so many beautiful women? Questioned Jiraiya with a smile on his face. That smile deepened when Naruto looked through the telescope some more. Yes, come and join the dark side, my boy. It's a better life here, thought Jiraiya before speaking again, which got Naruto to turn back to him. This is a village I've come across many times before. I decided to come back since it could probably help you. This is the wonderful Kunoichi village. Nadeshiko cut off a new arrival behind the master and student. They both turned, and Naruto's blush returned at the person talking. And I'll have to wonder why you're both spying on us. She was a fair-skinned girl of average height for her age, looking the same age as Naruto. She has green eyes and waist-length black hair and a Heim-style cut tied in a high ponytail with short bangs and chin-length strands framing her face. She had a black forehead protector and wore the same form-fitting outfit as all of the other Nadeshiko kunoichis. A gray-colored uniform with a right shoulder guard, gray gloves, and an opening in her shirt revealed some cleavage that she seemed to be blessed with, even at her young age. Naruto thought she was the prettiest girl he'd ever seen. Luckily, he wasn't blinded by beauty like most people. He could act even when starstruck. Naruto. We need to get out of here, said Jiraiya as he realized Naruto was a step ahead of him. Kuchios, summoning, said Naruto as he slammed a palm to the ground. The kunoichis of Nadeshiko watched as a poof of smoke covered both Jiraiya and Naruto. A slightly bigger than human-sized toad appeared as Naruto stood atop his head. We weren't spying on you. Erosenin is a pervert. That's all. He's the pervert? Then why do you both have telescopes? I have no rebuttal for that. The girl narrowed her eyes at Naruto, and he couldn't blame her. They were foreign shinobi, hidden pretty well, both looking down upon her village with telescopes. They looked like spies. And even when he told the truth, it wasn't any better. If it looked like a duck, quacked like a duck, then it probably was a spy. So, Naruto wasn't mad at her for getting ready to attack them. They paused when Jiraiya smacked Naruto across the head with his telescope. You suck. How do I suck? 2 reasons, said Jiraiya, holding up his middle finger. That was him saying reason 1 was coming. He didn't have to use that finger. Stop dry snitching. Naruto flinched. He ratted out Jiraiya immediately. Not so dry since he was getting threatened, but still, snitches get stitches. Jiraiya held up his pointer finger as 2 and continued. You couldn't summon a toad big enough for the both of us? How am I supposed to fit on him with you? You're a shadow clone. You've been gone, said Naruto as he got the clone to smile sheepishly. Naruto then pointed to the Nadeshiko kunoichi. You did all this to confuse them, probably so you can get further away without them noticing. Naruto turned to the kunoichi before pointing in the direction Jiraiya went. A faint stop dry snitching could be heard in the distance. Naruto didn't care as he patted the toad he stood on. Come on, Gamakichi, let's get out of here. Higi, Sanjiroki no Jutsu, secret art, technique of the 36 strategies. Gamakichi got the message before jumping high into the air and away from the group of kunoichi. The irony. Just like I did back in the day. Maybe I am rubbing off on the kid, thought Jiraiya as he looked at the kunoichis in front of him. He noticed the group leader had a look of recollection on her face. Seems she must know who I am after seeing the gaki do that. Jiraiya watched the girl take off in a dead sprint after Naruto got a smile out of him. That'll be interesting. Wonder what Naruto will do, thought Jiraiya before looking at the bevy of women in front of him. Now, ladies. There are 6 of you to just 1 of me. Unfair odds if I say. You'll need at least 9 if you want to keep up with the gallant Jiraiya in the bedroom. But I'm willing to go easy on you two. A kunai dispelled the Jiraiya clone in a poof of smoke. The kunoichis looked where their leader disappeared, not seeing a trace of her or Naruto. With Naruto, after his escape, A riverbank greeted the blonde shinobi as he walked over to it. Just before he could reach down and grab some water, Naruto's head picked up, and he turned to see the girl who'd spoken to him and Jiraiya. Wow. Persistent, said Naruto as the girl studied him with her pretty green eyes. Damn, Erosenin's rubbing off on me, thought Naruto with an internal frown, having already sized up the girl. He knew things like her chest size and measurements from a mere glance. Naruto refused to become a pervert like Jiraiya, so he willed himself to speak to keep him from his visual probing. I guess I should introduce myself. The name is Uzumaki Naruto, future Hokage. A pleasure to meet you. The girl brought her eyes back up to meet Naruto's stare. She said nothing to him for a few seconds. She realized he was waiting for her name in return, and she figured she could reciprocate. She did have manners, after all. Shizuka, said the girl as Naruto nodded his head with a smile. Pretty name. I'm not here to fight. My sensei and I were only passing through the area, said Naruto as Shizuka's eyebrows lowered to a glare. And you both happened to stop at a mountain overlooking our village and spy on us with telescopes? Questioned Shizuka as she looked ready to pounce on Naruto for any answer she didn't want to hear. I didn't want to not spy on you at all. It's my pervert of a sensei that did, said Naruto, seeing the girl loosen her shoulders, probably to quickly reach for one of those many kunai he could see on her person. Naruto didn't want that, so he kept trying to talk her down. Even though you're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen, I wouldn't be perched upon a mountain peeping on you. That's not my style, continued Naruto with a hand to his chin as he looked away. He didn't see the girl blush because of it. She couldn't believe he complimented her so brazenly in this situation. Then again, I don't know what my style is. I only asked one girl on a date repeatedly and got rejected each time. Maybe I should change my approach. He thinks I'm the most beautiful? Thought Shizuka stuck on that line. She steeled herself. Pretty words were just that, pretty words. Shizuka sprinted at Naruto as he groaned. He needed to work on his silver tongue since the truth didn't work for a second time. For Nadeshiko, I must defeat you and bring you in. I didn't want to fight, said Naruto before shifting his body into a defensive stance. But I'll be damned if I get blamed for the perverted wiles of Erosenin, continued Naruto as Shizuka closed in on him. At least I can test my skills, I guess. Haven't fought someone my age in a while. A flurry of punches and kicks flew at Naruto from the Nadeshiko Kunoichi as Naruto blocked and dodged them all with little to no effort. She wasn't even close to Jiraiya, and Naruto had been getting his ass handed to him by the man for over a year. You have to go harder than that if you want to hit me, said Naruto, catching Shizuka's latest kick before pushing her away. The action sent the girl skidding back quite the distance. Shizuka's eyebrows raised hearing Naruto's request before she blurred to Naruto. Guess I asked for it. Shizuka came at Naruto with more speed and ferocity. She lashed out with a speedy set of punches followed by a sharp kick that connected to Naruto's stomach. Naruto blocked the jabs and didn't seem fazed by the strong kick. He smiled, confusing the girl, as she put a hand in the half-ram seal. Resenpa, violent whirlwind, said Shizuka before letting loose a strong gust of wind at Naruto. Naruto jumped left to dodge with his hands, forming a unique seal. The sequence was smooth as butter as he channeled the exact amount of chakra necessary. Right on the money as always. It was his favorite jutsu, after all. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, shadow clone technique, said Naruto before a dozen copies of him spawned to life. They stood between him and Shizuka, all raring to go. Shizuka looked impressed by the massive number before all the Narutos came charging in at her. Ah, I love this jutsu so much. It makes fights so easy. The clones were corralling Shizuka as she began to sweat, trying to stay away. Eventually, she knew they'd get her at this rate, so she needed to be quick and precise. Whipping out a set of kunai in each hand, Shizuka let loose a barrage of the deadly projectiles. Nadeshiko Ryu Shinka and Byu, Nadeshiko-style deep crimson dance performance, said Shizuka as each thrown kunai dispelled a Naruto on contact. She hit every Naruto, and they all dispelled. That didn't make sense considering one of them was alive. She heard a footstep, and her eyes widened. Behind me? No one's ever gotten my back. Rasengan, came the voice of Naruto indeed behind Shizuka. Naruto formed the jutsu, one-handed, as he brought it forward. Shizuka turned and couldn't see a way to avoid it. Only Naruto stopped, and the chakra ball dissipated before striking her. Still haven't gotten it down when making it with one hand. Bummer, thought Naruto as his Rasengan destabilized a few seconds after he formed it. Silver Tongue and one-handed Rasengan would be his focuses. He needed to get those down. I wasn't going to hit her with it anyway. But I'd have liked to have held it there for dramatic effect or something. Shizuka stood frozen as she looked at Naruto. Naruto just did something that has never happened. He'd beaten her in a fight. He beat me. Thought Shizuka, thinking Naruto ended his jutsu prematurely on purpose. So, she gave him the victory. You win. I concede. Nice, I had more, and I'm sure you did too, said Naruto as he turned his head up. Naruto saw Jiraiya frowning at him and pointing at a non-existent watch on his wrist. I'm coming. I'm coming. Calm down, continued Naruto before turning back to Shizuka. Naruto flashed her a foxy grin that got her to blush lightly. I'll see you around, Shizuka. Well, maybe not after this whole situation. Sorry about peeping on your village. Won't happen again. Shizuka shook her head at Naruto's statement before she cleared her throat. Her cheeks were still rosy as she looked at Naruto. If you do, I'll just find you again, said Shizuka as Naruto smiled wider. That doesn't sound like a bad thing to me, said Naruto before leaves began to swirl around him. A Shenshin goodbye would make Naruto look too cool. Until next time, stay beautiful. Shizuka watched Naruto disappear in a swirl of leaves as she smiled. She rather liked him calling her beautiful. Other people had, but it rolled off his tongue better, and because of that, there was no doubt in her mind. Uzumaki Naruto, you will see me again, thought the girl before hearing Jiraiya. Did you Shenshin 30 feet to try to look cool? What? No, was that only 30 feet? Yes, it was. She can see and hear us, kiddo. No, she can't, said Naruto before looking to Shizuka and seeing her waving and giggling. Oh, her giggle was so cute, but it was hurting him that it was at him and not with him. Naruto hung his head in defeat before turning to walk. I blew it, huh? Yeah, you were doing so well too. And then, you went and did that, said Jiraiya, getting a rain cloud to appear over Naruto's head. Jiraiya followed after his young charge before trying to brighten the boy's spirits. But that's what this trip is for. To get better, and we'll work on your game with the ladies even more now. Naruto nodded his head as the two of them kept walking. It was to be a fun training trip. The first year was grueling, but Naruto hoped the rest would be the best time of his young life. It was certainly shaping up to be. Chapter 2-3 is a crowd. Faster, Gaki. Faster, said Jiraiya as he was defending against the Jinchuriki. Jiraiya shook his head before palms striking Naruto in the face. The hit was unavoidable as his student dispelled in a poof of smoke. You're doing it wrong. Next, a long line of Narutos was standing, waiting to jump in at Jiraiya. One by one, they were facing off against Jiraiya to learn the taijutsu the man was teaching them. They all had a look of scrutiny on their faces, having studied the small exchanges. Frog Fu, the legendary taijutsu only accessible to Mount Myaboku. Being a summoner of toads, Naruto was one of those people lucky enough to learn the style. And learn it he was going to do. Another clone jumped in to face Jiraiya as the others spoke to each other. Did you see it? He was off a few degrees with his block, and that's why Sensei popped him in the face, said one of the Narutos, getting nods from several of his identical brethren. What? Degrees? What do you mean? That doesn't even make sense, said another Naruto, getting a larger grouping of Narutos to back him. Stop trying to sound smart. Just say he was late or off by a few inches. We can't even calculate degrees like that. I can because I'm the smart clone. We all know it's true, said that Naruto as one of the others laughed. Ha! Get over yourself. You're not even close to being smart, said the laughing clone. You're myself genius. This means if I'm not smart, you aren't either, dumbass, spoke the smart clone, getting the laughing one to stop and growl at being corrected. I'll kill all of you punks if one of you don't step up here and stop wasting your time, said Jiraiya impatiently. He defeated the other clone and said next only to see the clones arguing. That wouldn't work because they were wasting their time. And by proxy, his time too. I'm still going researching in 20 minutes. Better get while the getting is good. The Naruto clones got into gear quickly before one of them took off to face Jiraiya again. The original Naruto was posted in a tree, hanging upside down with his legs hooked in a branch. A shirtless Naruto who was sweating heavily and overlooking his clones and Jiraiya. Clones are so stupid, said Naruto, shaking his head. He shrugged before leaning up to do a crunch. They are so worth it. How'd I never noticed that little detail before? One of the special things about shadow clones was that they shifted their memories and experiences back to the user upon death. And when it came to training, they sped up the process tremendously in that regard. It was like Naruto could look left and right at the same time, thus allowing Naruto to focus on the physical aspects of training and let his clones handle the mental aspects. It was a beautiful thing. Naruto was cutting training time in half. A lot more than half, as he could make up to 1,000 and still feel fine. His first year of training under Jiraiya was a grueling physical regimen that did break him. He wasn't allowed to learn anything from the man until his body was up to snuff. Clones couldn't help him there. He'd suffered horribly. Granted, Jiraiya did give him a new jutsu anytime he trained hard enough to leave him unable to move. It was a pretty good method of getting him stronger. Want a new jutsu? Well, physically train until you couldn't move a muscle, and Jiraiya had to come and scoop you up at the end of the day. That allotted you a jutsu and made Naruto go extra hard in his workouts. It helped that no matter how badly he overtrained, the Kyuubi would have him right as rain the following day. Jinchuriki hacks were so amazing. Naruto smiled, feeling how strong he knew he was becoming. The Naruto he was now would destroy the Naruto he was from a year ago, even if that previous Naruto had a one-tailed cloak as he did against Sasuke in the Valley of the End. It wouldn't be enough to beat him, and Naruto couldn't stop smiling considering he and Jiraiya had another year plus to go. Naruto stopped his hanging crunches as he felt something was off in the area. 2446, said Naruto, doing another crunch, followed by another and another. 2447, 2448. You've only done 448, spoke the voice of the disturbance Naruto felt. So you've been watching me for that long? Asked Naruto, continuing his crunches. He spoke evenly as the new arrival walked over to him. Naruto grinned, seeing who it was. A month, huh? 4 weeks and you find me. To what do I owe the pleasure, Shizuka? Standing under the tree next to Naruto was indeed Shizuka. She wore a tan cloak, but Naruto could see her kunoichi uniform underneath. Shizuka's green eyes followed Naruto as he continued his crunches. I guess your sensei didn't tell you about my village? Questioned Shizuka with a raised eyebrow. She knew Jiraiya was the one to face her sensei all those days ago. Considering the promise Jiraiya and she made, Shizuka figured he'd have at least told Naruto. Do you even know about your relationship with me as Jiraiya-sama's student? 500. And no, not at all. Erosenin hasn't said a word. 501, said Naruto dropping from the tree in a backflip. He landed next to Shizuka and saw her raise an eyebrow. He stopped on a strange number. The extra one is for the ladies. Erosenin said it's a must to do the extra one. Shizuka grinned, hearing the reasoning, and nodded her head. Everyone had their little quirks when teaching their students, and that one was Jiraiya's. And who was she to question the ideology of a man not only praised by her sensei but by the shinobi world? Naruto pulled his mesh shirt back on after toweling off and perked up, hearing what Shizuka said next. Well, it looks like those extra ones are paying off, said Shizuka as Naruto gave her a smile at the compliment. Internally, Naruto was beaming and jumping for joy like an idiot. It was good to know that his training was paying off aesthetically, and that the muscles he saw were there. There was no need to put your shirt back on if you're just going to keep training. True, but I couldn't let you get all hot and bothered. That was a lie. Naruto was done training for the moment. The crunches had been the last thing he had left to do. Jiraiya's lessons told him casual flirting was to be used at every opportunity with the fairer sex, regardless of interest or not. This was one of those moments. Jiraiya claimed he had to put out feelers to gauge whether the girl was interested back. It also got whether or not they weren't interested out of the way immediately. If you were barking up the wrong tree, it was better to know it from the start. A pretty good tactic in Naruto's opinion and relatively harmless. Naruto could see Shizuka smiling at his words and figured the former was the case. That was good because Shizuka intrigued Naruto. Jiraiya also told Naruto that he needed to control the conversation because otherwise, the female he was flirting with would inevitably win the game he'd set in motion. That wasn't good because Naruto could see Shizuka's eyes shining like she had a good line ready, so he beat her to the punch by changing the topic. So, what made you want to find me? Trying to get payback for our spying on your village? Questioned Naruto, stopping Shizuka's return fire. He wasn't that good with his game to try at the current moment. And he was glad Shizuka answered his question rather than hit him with a reply he wasn't ready for. I'll work on my confidence later. I'm a bit miffed that you don't know. Why wouldn't Jiraiya-sama tell you about my village and our rules? Questioned the pretty girl, looking Naruto in the eyes. She shrugged and decided to tell him herself. Due to your besting me in conflict, we are to be wed. You must return with me to Nadeshiko immediately. It was so silent that a pin could be heard landing in the grass. Naruto had a progressively reddening face as he looked at Shizuka, whose expression didn't change one bit. Naruto thought his working out may have impeded his ability to hear. He wondered if he heard her correctly. Run that by me one more time, please. In my village, we are predominantly kunoichi and normally bear female offsprings, spoke Shizuka, not minding Naruto's blush. She could understand, but it didn't faze her because this was how she was raised. Because of that, our village operates on a policy. If we are defeated in battle by a man, we will return with him and be married immediately. You left pretty fast, so I couldn't tell you then. I came to find you to let you know. Ah, I see, said Naruto as his blush left. Shizuka smiled, seeing Naruto understand what she was saying. Except, his understanding didn't mean he was going for it. I'm not marrying you because I beat you in a spar. That's stupid. What? I'm not marrying you because I beat you in a spar. That's stupid, repeated Naruto, getting confusion from Shizuka. But it's my villages. I understand, and I'm sorry. But no, said Naruto, losing his interest in the girl. Her reason for coming to see him again was terrible. A character flaw in Naruto's mind that he wasn't attracted to. If that's why you came to see me after a month to tell me that, then I'm sorry you wasted your time. But no, I won't marry you. Continued Naruto, watching the girl go through a mixture of emotions. He didn't understand how much that meant to her, and he refused to know because it would be a waste of time. He wasn't about to marry some girl he didn't know because he beat her. That was so weird. But I'd hate for that to be the end of our knowing each other. I was going to get lunch. If you want, you can tag along before you return home, and I'll buy you a meal. Shizuka stared at Naruto for a few seconds longer before nodding her head. It did suck that she came all this way to get rejected so casually, but he did offer her food, and she was hungry from her travels. She could eat before returning home. Sure, I can eat lunch, said Shizuka as Naruto smiled and turned to lead the way. Shizuka followed behind him, a bit crushed until she remembered something. My mission was to return with Naruto. It didn't have a time limit on it. Thought Shizuka before smiling to herself as she stared at Naruto's back. He may have thought it weird and stupid, but her village's tradition was her village's tradition. And Shizuka was persistent. She would get him to agree with her, and she let it be known. I'm going to bring you back home and make you marry me. You know that, right? I'm not going to give up because you said no. Naruto continued to lead Shizuka to the small town next to them. He turned his head, hearing her, and saw a determined look in her eyes. Naruto shook his head and chuckled. Naruto turned forward and continued making his way to civilization for a quick meal. Well, if that's the case, you better be a good lunch partner, said Naruto, getting a smile. Shizuka liked he didn't shut down her goal a second time. Maybe there was a chance? That's one of the requirements if you want to be Mrs. Uzumaki Naruto. Losing to me in a spar isn't one. Lunch partner? Well, I'll be the best lunch partner. You may just fall in love with me. Oh my, said Naruto, turning his head to see Shizuka smirking. The girl was oozing with confidence, and it made Naruto smirk back. Maybe he wasn't that bad at talking to girls? Such confidence. That was another requirement. Good on you. Slow down now. At this pace, I'll be in Nadeshiko by sunset. That's what I'm after. Naruto couldn't help the smile that came to his face. And with that, the two of them walked clean out of the clearing en route to some food. Go Gaki, said Jiraiya while punching another clone in the face. Why can't I go with the pretty girl? Questioned one of the clones. Most of the other clones nodded their heads before another was punched in the face by Jiraiya. Then another and another as one of the clones got his brothers to notice what was happening. Erosenin has gone crazy. Look alive, chumps. Papa Bear's going on a spree, said Jiraiya, tearing through the clones like a buzzsaw. If the original Naruto was taking a break, then Jiraiya saw no reason he couldn't either. He had research to get to, and maybe a little peeking in on what his new student was getting into. You better not blow it, Gaki. I've taught you too well for this, thought Jiraiya, finishing off the rest of the clones. He wanted to see what his student and that Nadeshiko girl were doing. With Naruto and Shizuka, Naruto led the pretty kunoichi through the woods before stopping when a rush of memories kept filtering through his head. He growled, realizing what was causing it. Erosenin, said Naruto, agitated that his time with the man was cut short. Just because I finished early doesn't mean he should have. He probably wants to go peeking. Erosenin? Is that really what you call Jiraiya-sama? Yeah, he's a toad sage and a self-proclaimed super pervert. So, Erosenin, and he lets you get away with that? Not at all. Erosenin hates it as much as Bachan does, said Naruto, getting Tsunade to twitch randomly. Naruto looked into the pretty green hues of Shizuka and frowned. Whenever he gets me in a spar, he goes a bit harder if I call him that during the middle of it. Pervert hits hard too, continued Naruto with a shrug before smiling. Well, not as hard as Bachan. But if they're going to call me a brat, then I'm going to call them a pervert and old lady, respectively. I'm guessing Bachan is another authority figure in your village? Yeah, like the authority figure. Bachan's the Hokage. Shizuka's mouth dropped hearing Naruto say that. He not only called Jiraiya, one of the legendary Sannin, a pervert openly. He doubled down by calling another Sannin and leader of Konoha an old hag. How was he still alive? We've made it. I hope you like pancakes. Pancakes? But it's 2 in the afternoon? Questioned Shizuka, confused as she stepped into the restaurant. Naruto followed behind her as she looked to see other customers eating eggs, bacon, and all kinds of breakfast. You eat breakfast after morning time? Yes, all the time because of Erosenin. He loves breakfast outside of normal breakfast hours, said Naruto with a smile and a wave to the chef behind the counter. He'd been here almost every day since he and Jiraiya set up camp right on the outskirts of this little town. I need another order for my friend Pops. No problem for a future Hokage and his friend, spoke the old chef, getting a smirk from Naruto. Naruto led Shizuka to a table, where he pulled out her seat. Once she was settled, Naruto sat across from her only to see her smiling at him. Why the smile? 2 reasons. 1, it's nice to know chivalry isn't dead. Erosenin is a pervert, yes, but also a gentleman. He passed the ladder down. He'll pass the perversion down too if you aren't careful. Or did you not look out of the second telescope when I caught you both on that mountain? Questioned Shizuka, getting a sheepish grin. Shizuka smiled wider, seeing it before continuing her earlier point. The second reason I'm smiling is that you're a rule breaker like him. Jiraiya-sama eats breakfast outside of breakfast hours, the same as you. He refused my grandmother's proposal after defeating her, the same as you. Rule breakers all around. You're set on this marriage thing? It's my destiny. Stop, don't do that, said Naruto, getting attentive green eyes from the pretty kunoichi. Her smile was no longer there as Naruto sighed. There was this annoying guy I beat in the Chunin exams who spoke about fate, and I feel like your destiny is following the same pattern, Shizuka. Don't do that, but you defeated me. It's village tradition that, and would you be happy if I did marry you? Cut off Naruto with a question that got Shizuka's eyes to widen. She couldn't answer that. I don't know much about marriage and stuff, but shouldn't you at least love and be attracted to them first before you marry them? Seems silly to lose a fight and be married because of it. Continued Naruto, closing his eyes while he verbalized his thoughts. He didn't think he was good at words like this, but it seemed the only way Shizuka would understand. I have a girl that I love anyway. At least I think so. Shizuka could do nothing but look at Naruto. He had a tiny smile on his face as he shook his head. It's a bit one-sided though, she doesn't return my feelings. She's madly in love with this team named Sasuke, said Naruto, opening his blue eyes to hold Shizuka's gaze. I would never try to force her to love me. Plus, we're only 13, and love is, well, love. Naruto smiled and clenched his fist tightly. I made her a promise, and I intend to keep it no matter what. I can't do that going off to Nadeshiko and marrying you. He wasn't just saying no just to say it. Thought Shizuka watching a waitress come and deposit a huge breakfast spread in front of Naruto. The same waitress then put an identical tray in front of her before dismissing herself. Shizuka looked back at Naruto to see him giving thanks and digging into his meal. If I beat you in a spar, will you come back to Nadeshiko and marry me? Naruto just smiled. He knew he wasn't that good with words. Naruto smiled with a mouthful of pancakes that he gulped down before looking at her. He couldn't break her, it seemed. No, but I wouldn't mind sparring, said Naruto, getting Shizuka to concede and agree to that. You should eat your food. You're going to need the energy if you want to hang with me. Last time was a fluke, said Shizuka, grabbing her utensils to begin digging in. The food did smell good and looked like it tasted even better. I'm winning this time. Naruto smiled in return, which got the Nadeshiko Kunoichi to do the same. They'd be seeing about that very soon. 2 months later. Konoha. What's the long face for forehead? Shouldn't you be happy right now? Came the voice of Yamanaka Ino, a pretty blonde and the leader of the Yamanaka clan's daughter. She spoke to the pink-haired girl walking with her down a path in Konoha. We kicked butt at Suna's Chunin exams. We both got promotions. Yes. I am happy, Inobuta, pig, said Sakura in reply without looking up from the ground. We're Chunin now, but I can't help but think about Naruto. He probably wanted to be there to help and cheer us on. A smirk came to Ino's face as she looked at her friend. At first, Ino was going to agree. Naruto was a lovable idiot, and it'd have been nice to have him there cheering them on. But with the way Sakura's face looked, Ino couldn't help but notice that it was a bit deeper for the member of Team 7. You missed the boy who always wanted your attention and affection, said Ino, getting Sakura to freeze. Ino's smirk deepened, seeing the deadpan stare her friend was giving her. And now that he's gone, you're in love with him. They do say absence makes the heart grow fonder. No, I'll never feel that way for Naruto, said Sakura with the utmost confidence. Naruto was her teammate, and she did like him, but not in that way. She couldn't see it happening. But it feels weird. He's training with the Toad Sage, I'm training with Tsunade-sama, and Orochimaru is training Sasuke. Is this like a sign or something? We're all training with a student of Sandaime-sama. I'd not like to talk about Sasuke-kun or Sandaime-sama, said Ino, a bit more about Sasuke. That one still hurt her. She went back to admiring the Chunin vest in her hands. But that is weird, I guess. Is that what you're all down about? You think the universe is conspiring to make you all like the Sannin? Kind of. We were all so close, and in a day, we all separated, said Sakura with a frown. But that's not even the weird thing. I had a dream that Naruto had another girl he was doting over. What? No way. Naruto is Sakura-chan all the way, said Ino, mocking Naruto's voice when she said Sakura-chan. That got Sakura to giggle as Ino shook her head. You know that, he's hooked. You're his favorite drug even if you won't ever return his feelings. Drug? I'm a drug? Questioned Sakura as Ino merely nodded. What if he finds a better drug? It's not far-fetched, is it? Ino merely rose an eyebrow at that. You took that analogy too far, said Ino, tired of thinking about things that weren't right in front of them. And what was in front of them was their promotions to Chunin. Ino wanted to party. Let's get to this celebration for our promotions. We'll worry about Naruto when he comes back. That's what, like 2 years from now or something? Yeah, or something. Wonder how good he'll be, said Sakura as she looked up to the sky. Her thoughts on her two teammates both currently away from home. I hope you both are okay. Unknown location. Seated in a lotus position, Sasuke sat with closed eyes and hands in the tiger seal. He was calmly meditating in a dark room barely lit by several candles. It was quiet and serene until someone opened the door to the room. What is it? Questioned Sasuke abruptly and somewhat rudely. So harsh, Sasuke-kun. Good morning to you too, came the voice of the shadowed man standing at his doorway. Was making sure there wasn't anything you needed before I left? No, there isn't. Splendid, I will leave you to it then, spoke the man, closing the door. Before he did, though, he left Sasuke with some intriguing information. Your teammate, Naruto-kun, left Konoha and is traveling the world with Jiraiya to get stronger. That bit of information got Sasuke's eyes to open. The red of his fully matured Sharingan glowed as he grew a smirk. Good, it still won't matter but good, said Sasuke, getting a smile from the man as he closed the door. Train hard, dope. I'll crush you if you don't. And with that, Sasuke decided he'd train some more. He wouldn't let Naruto catch him. Land of Water, Naruto age 13. She's staying with us, said Jiraiya, munching on a large roasted fish. Naruto was sitting beside him, also eating a fish, as he nodded his head. 2 months, and she hasn't so much as returned home. You must be pretty important there, kiddo. Yeah, something about how it was her mission to find me and get me to marry her, said Naruto, taking another bite of the delectable food his sensei had prepared. Since she hasn't succeeded and her mission doesn't have a timetable, she said she'd stay for as long as it takes. Continued Naruto with a shrug. Weird, but at least she pulls her weight. Pulls her weight? Yeah, it's why you've let her tag along for this long, said Naruto easily. Jiraiya couldn't deny the boy's following points. She's a great sparring partner. She doesn't ask us for anything because she already has her own money being the Princess Erosenin, of her village. She's quiet and unobtrusive, and well, she looks so good. She looks what? Shut up. I'm not a pervert because I think she's pretty. I can say she's pretty. I'm not blind, said Naruto, only getting Jiraiya to grin lecherously. Naruto had a mild blush tint his cheeks that he vehemently shook his head to get rid of. It's a healthy appreciation of the fairer sex. Not perversion. I refuse to be a pervert like you. Jiraiya looked at Naruto before nodding his head and dropping it. Everyone had a little pervert in them, and being the boy's sensei, Jiraiya aimed to bring out his students' best. Whether that meant a shinobi, a man, or a pervert, Jiraiya was going to bring out his very best in all areas. Yeah, she hasn't given me any problems, said Jiraiya with a smile. Plus, it was better for Naruto to face someone around his skill level now and then. He couldn't keep taking shellackings from Jiraiya. The boy would never know if he was progressing or not. But she could have at least brought an older friend for me. I told you suck as a wingman. Sure, the spar is almost over, said Naruto as he went back to watching the spar in front of them. The real Naruto was currently engaged in a heated spar with the Nadeshiko princess, as the two were trading blows in taijutsu. It's starting to get good. The battle of pure taijutsu was slowly but surely going in Naruto's favor. Shizuka could keep up being speedier than Naruto, but Naruto was an animal. He kept coming forward and crowding Shizuka, and it was wearing down the Nadeshiko princess. I have to get him off me, thought Shizuka, dressed in a tank top and shorts. No shoes on her feet as she blocked a strong straight from Naruto that pierced her guard and set her skidding back. He's so strong. Those workouts aren't solely for looking good. Good to see all that working out is paying off, said Naruto about his punch connecting despite her block. Naruto only wore shorts and kept his shirt off as he lunged forward to keep his current advantage. Picking it up, Shizuka's eyes widened when Naruto took a step and then vanished from sight. Shizuka took no chances as she went through a set of hand seals and whipped out a bunch of kunai. The girl began to spin as a tornado covered her from view. In a wide sweeping attack, kunai flew across the clearing out of the tornado. And I know dance performance. Second step, spoke Shizuka while kunai were beginning to land. The kunai hit trees, rocks, the small pond they were settled next to, and everything else in the clearing. The girl eventually stopped her technique and checked around to see if she'd gotten Naruto. I hit everything. There's nowhere he could have hidden except for above you. Shizuka smirked hearing Naruto say above. She knew that already. If a kunai didn't hit him from her latest technique, the only place he could have been was above her. So while Naruto thought he had the drop on her, Shizuka met him with her actual attack. The girl's left arm coated in wind chakra as Naruto's eyes widened. Koha Ryukyuken, hardliner fist, Rasengan, said Naruto in reply as a ball of chakra swirled to life in his palm. At first, he aimed to grab her and end the spar that way. That wouldn't work since she was already turning around before he spoke to counter what he thought was a surprise. Good thing he could make the Rasengan in an instant now to combat the girl's finishing move. Though he realized too late, the girl's trajectory was different than his. Shizuka didn't ram her fist into Naruto's Rasengan like he thought she would. Why would she do that when she was certain Naruto would overpower her? It just didn't make sense to her, so she rammed her jutsu straight at his shoulder after sidestepping his move. Shizuka's eyes shined, seeing Naruto not ready for that as he took the hit cleanly. Got you, said Shizuka, releasing the wind collected in her palm as she rocketed Naruto off the end of it. Naruto flew back from the powerful attack before dispelling in a poof of smoke. What? Nice moves, but came the voice of the Naruto. He stood rather close behind her with a kunai to her back. He'd won again. I love my clones so much. Such a great distraction as always. Shizuka felt a chill run through her body. Naruto was standing with his head next to hers, so his voice was right next to her ear. She could feel goosebumps forming because while he'd gotten behind her before, she didn't see this one coming at all. Shizuka didn't move her head from right next to Naruto's as the two stood there for a bit. Even after 2 months, you can still get my back, said Shizuka, annoyed by this. She hadn't beaten him once in 2 months. His misdirection was annoyingly good, and no matter how many times I see those clones, I can never tell the real one from the fakes. It's so agitating. Oh, that hurts my heart, Shizuka-chan, said Naruto, removing the kunai from the girl's back. Shizuka turned to Naruto with an eyebrow raised. You can't tell me from a clone? That means I could have sent one back to marry you, and you'd have been none the wiser. Man, I should have done that. Not really. I'd have come right back. How? You can't tell me from a clone. I'd have noticed when it was time to consummate the wedding, said Shizuka, causing Naruto to falter a bit. She smiled, seeing the red tint Naruto's cheeks as she continued. The clone wouldn't last, and I'd have to find you again so I could finish what I started. I see your point, said Naruto, coughing into his hand to regain his swagger. Jiraiya rules, always win the flirting. Never let the girl get in the last jab. Let me know if you ever want to practice. You know, for your future husband. Not saying it won't be me. It still could, but if you ever want to go through a trial run, I don't mind helping. Oh, thank goodness. I was hoping you'd say that, said Shizuka, untying her hair to let it cascade down her back. She placed her hands on the underside of her shirt before lifting it slightly. Can we do the trial run now? Naruto never answered Shizuka verbally. He merely fainted with a stupid look on his face and blood leaking from his nose. Shizuka smirked and turned to Jiraiya and the clone Naruto with a smile on her face as she walked out of the clearing. She hadn't beat Naruto in any of their spars, but she'd be damned if she let him win their verbal jousting. In that regard, he hadn't won once. Oof, knocked us out cold again, said the Naruto clone sitting beside Jiraiya. Jiraiya nodded his head before realizing he was sitting with a clone. A clone that was eating. Jiraiya gave the clone a look as it wondered what was wrong. What's up, Ero-sennin? Why is the clone eating? You know that doesn't go back to Naruto, right? Questioned Jiraiya as the clone nodded and kept eating. Us clones have dreams that maybe we're the real one, said the clone with a shrug. It's never true, but a clone can dream, right? Plus, I've never eaten anything before. I wanted to see what it's like. Maybe I'll even be able to poop later. Jiraiya could see where the clone would be curious. Clones never did do anything normal. Granted, Naruto himself did those things, so the clones should know. Jiraiya didn't feel like correcting the clone. It didn't affect him in the slightest. You're eating the Gaki's piece anyway. He won't be happy that you ate it, but you'll dispel anyway, said Jiraiya, biting down into his fish. Jiraiya continued to eat with the Naruto clone as they waited for the real Naruto to wake up eventually. We still got about 2 years left. I wonder how good you'll become? We're going to be the best, Databayo. Jiraiya smiled at the confidence of the clone. Yeah, kid, you're going to be the best, said Jiraiya with a smile toward the actual Naruto. The boy had a dopey look on his face as Jiraiya smiled wider. You're going to be great. I think it's time I get to shaping you up. Jiraiya would make Naruto great. Even better, Jiraiya would pass down his techniques to the boy. Naruto was now his pupil. It was time for his pupil to start looking and fighting like it. Not my pupil. He has to get way better first. Pupil denial aside, Jiraiya was going to make Naruto great. There was no question in his or Naruto's mind. Chapter 3, Becoming Pervy Sage. Come on, Gaki. Come on, came the voice of Jiraiya as he stood over Naruto's shoulder. I need this. You have to come through for me. Don't mess this up. A tired yawn came from Naruto as he rubbed his eyes. Naruto smacked his lips twice before looking at the sheet of paper Jiraiya handed him. A few blinks, and Naruto realized what it was. The Jinchuriki shook his head as chakra coated his thumb before he took it to the paper. Naruto rubbed it across a few times to reveal 2 numbers. Yes, just one more, said Jiraiya before Naruto scratched off another. Jiraiya's eyes widened as he snatched the slip of paper from Naruto and looked at it greedily. GKI. If I haven't told you yet, you're golden. The exact opposite of Tsunade when it comes to gambling. Your luck is ridiculous, continued Jiraiya looking at the 3 100,000s Naruto revealed. It was a winning ticket. I knew you were going to be helpful coming along on this trip. 100,000 Ryo from a 100 Ryo scratch-off. Hot damn, what a way to start the morning. Now get your ass up. Time for training. Naruto yawned again as he took off his frog nightcap and looked around for a shirt to wear. Meh, I'm training, said Naruto, deciding to go shirtless. Naruto went to brush his teeth as he prepped to get his day started. His stomach growled when he grabbed his toothbrush as Naruto sighed. Stupid clone ate my dinner last night. Ero-sennin wouldn't cook again. Stupid clones. They'd been getting more liberal with their orders since Naruto started this trip. He'd need to speak with them soon to make sure they knew the rules. 1. Listen to the original, obvious first rule. 2. Don't eat his food. That was all. More rules would come eventually. Naruto would and could make them as necessary. Alright, let's get the day started, said Naruto before his stomach growled again. He'd need a bite to eat before he got to work. Sometime later, so nothing I do will change that? Asked Shizuka, overlooking a squadron of clones. The clones each had a leaf in their hands as they were trying to complete the first stage of wind manipulation. That stage is splitting the leaf in half with wind chakra. Jiraiya found out Naruto's elemental affinity was wind and couldn't be happier. Jiraiya didn't have a wind affinity, but Jiraiya knew how good wind was as an element, and it fit the Gaki so perfectly. It was slow-going learning since Jiraiya couldn't help, but progress was being made, and that was the whole point in the first place. Shizuka heard a chuckle come from the Sannin seated beside her. She turned to see Jiraiya sitting there with a smile on his face. No, me and the kid may parallel in a lot of ways, but he's not as committed to his first love like I am. You could potentially get him to go off and marry you, said Jiraiya as he looked over to see the real Naruto doing laps around the clearing. Laps while he dragged an enormous boulder strapped to his back. It's going to take time, is all. You can't expect him to be okay with the whole marriage thing, let alone being together. Continued Jiraiya, watching Naruto struggle to keep the boulder moving. If he stopped at any point, he wouldn't be able to get it going again by himself. And he knew that if he stopped, he'd have to start all over. The thing he has for his teammate will probably end the moment he gets back. Kid's stubborn, but he's a lot smarter than I was and am. Give it some time. How much time? It's already been 2 months, and I feel like I haven't gotten anywhere. You haven't, said Jiraiya, getting Shizuka to frown. He said that way too quickly? I'm sure you have a guy trying to win your hand in marriage? Anybody knowing your village's rules probably tries to beat you in a fight. They're quite annoying. I'm willing to bet? Shizuka gave a head nod. Thus, Jiraiya continued his point. Well, you're doing the same to Naruto. He probably feels the same way about you as you feel about those who try to win your hand in marriage. Naruto-kun thinks I'm annoying? I don't know what the Gaki thinks. He may not be annoyed. But I'd guess he's tired of the marriage thing, said Jiraiya, seeing Naruto slow down a bit before growling and going a bit faster. That got Jiraiya to smile, seeing the boy's determination to finish. If you're so adamant about your destiny, fine. But don't throw it in the kid's face every conversation you both have. You might get somewhere if you didn't. Shizuka nodded her head in understanding. She usually brought up the marriage thing to Naruto when they spoke, gauging to see if he changed his mind. And every time she did, he would shake his head, and either end the conversation or change the topic. Shizuka felt bad not realizing that before looking at Jiraiya with a heartfelt smile. Thank you for that, said Shizuka, getting a thumbs up. Shizuka looked at the original Naruto straining himself, and took a moment to admire the muscles working to keep that boulder moving. He was working extra hard today. Is he trying to get a new jutsu again? Naruto-kun looks like he's about to pass out. Nah, kid's fine. But yeah, I got a new jutsu for the kid, said Jiraiya, alluding to Naruto needing to overtax himself physically to earn a new trick. It's why he was dragging that boulder. Jiraiya may have hinted to him about it when he started. It's a good one too. He's going to love it. One from my collection. The first he'll learn from it to boot. So the teacher is teaching his pupil his tricks? Pfft, no. The kid is decades too early before being able to claim to be my pupil publicly, said Jiraiya as his smile grew bigger. He could see Naruto pushing even harder than earlier. Almost like Mato Guy or Rock Lee back in Konoha would. But he's going to get there. Kid's got what it takes. Definitely has what it takes. The dozens of clones in front of Shizuka and Jiraiya all groaned at the same time, catching the two's attention as they all messed up in unison. A small laugh came from Shizuka before she smiled. Shizuka smiled and turned into a smirk before she stood up. Time is on my side in this case. It's my destiny to marry the student of Jiraiya, and I aim to accomplish that. Good, remember? You can take a horse to the well. That doesn't mean it has to drink from it. Got it. And I can help the clones with that wind exercise. I refuse to train with the original. I can't keep up with Naruto physically, said Shizuka, getting Jiraiya to giggle perversely. Shizuka ignored the gutter-minded Sannin and prepped to jump down and help the clones. Before leaving, she figured she could give Jiraiya some sage words in return. By the way, you know if Naruto-kun uses up to 1,000 clones a day during his training. He's doing about 41 days of training per hour that those clones are, continued Shizuka, getting Jiraiya to furrow his brow. Shizuka knew her math was correct and smiled, seeing Jiraiya realize what that meant. He's been flying through those decades with his year of teaching under you using that method. This means, by your logic, Naruto is your pupil Jiraiya-sama. Be proud. Jiraiya did the math in his head and realized she was right. Naruto was doing months of training every week. The two of them have been together for a year. 52 weeks in a year multiplied by Shizuka was a cold piece of work for dropping that knowledge on him. She smirked, seeing his face as she jumped down to help out the clones. Damn, the brat might be my pupil, said Jiraiya, looking at Naruto. He saw Naruto finish the last of his 50 laps and drop face first in the dirt. The kid looked near death, but Jiraiya wasn't having that. He had something he needed to confirm. No, can't be. I have to test this. Time for another spar. Gaki, shouted Jiraiya, getting the sweaty and exhausted Jinchuriki to look at him. Time to face the music again. Naruto groaned, but he still managed to stand and face his sensei. He had a little bit left in the tank. A little bit in his tank meant he had plenty more energy to burn. With Shizuka and the clones, this stupid leaf is impossible to cut, groaned one of the clones as the others all agreed. All but one of them, who was whispering with Shizuka, who joined them not a few minutes ago. A clone noticed this, and his jealousy was palpable. Immediately doubtful. How come you get to talk with Shizuka-chan? Boss made me the head clone today. Who made you head clone? Boss didn't say anything outside of telling us to split the leaf. He didn't make you head clone, said another clone as more and more clones began to argue with each other. Their arguing escalated as several poofs of smoke went up due to clones dispelling. An odd brawl was going down between the clones, fighting over who was the top clone. Raisingans were swirling to life as jutsu started to fly all around. The clones were getting particularly violent with one another. It was chaos that Shizuka was seeing as she shook her head. Hey clones, spoke Shizuka, stopping the fighting clones in their tracks as they looked at the pretty kunoichi. One clone got in a cheap shot during the stoppage, dispelling the clone, as Shizuka ignored it to pick up a discarded leaf. Now watch and learn. The clones all sat googly-eyed at the Nadeshiko kunoichi as she held the leaf between her palms. A second went by as Shizuka opened her hands and showed the perfectly split leaf. All the clones gave a wow and admired her. See? Not impossible. Now let's get to work. I'll be helping from now on. Hi Shizuka-sensei, spoke the clones in unison, getting a smile from their teacher. Shizuka walked around and helped the clones as they needed it. They'd get this by the end of the day if it were up to her. With Naruto and Jiraiya. You are getting stronger, said Jiraiya, actively needing to block all of Naruto's strikes now with a tinge of effort. Naruto smiled at his sensei as he went through the taijutsu for frog fu against him. He was noticeably better after months of taijutsu kata practice by his clones. Jiraiya's eyes widened when Naruto added chakra to augment his physical abilities. Oh ho! This is a bit of fun. I may not fall asleep like before. Don't worry, you'll get some rest, sensei, said Naruto, lashing out with an elbow that Jiraiya caught cleanly between his hands. I'll let you get some rest when I knock you out. You couldn't put me to sleep even if I were already dozing off, said Jiraiya before hearing the familiar swirl of a Rasengan. Jiraiya wasn't expecting that as the Rasengan connected and blew him away. Naruto smiled, seeing the clean hit he'd scored before frowning. The Jiraiya he hit turned to one of his clones that dispelled in a poof of smoke. A clone? You switched with one of me, said Naruto, scanning the area for Jiraiya. You made me commit homicide. On myself. Is that suicide then? Definitely suicide, said Jiraiya, standing behind Naruto before whipping into a spin kick. The kick turned Naruto into a poof of smoke as Jiraiya's eyes widened. Jiraiya quickly found the real Naruto holding the tiger seal. A shuriken was halfway between them and closing in on Jiraiya. Little brat moves fast. Shuriken Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shuriken Shadow Clone Technique, said Naruto as that one shuriken multiplied into dozens. Naruto frowned when Jiraiya's hair grew to surround him. Oh, come on. I had you that time. Hari Jizo, Needle Jizo says you didn't, replied Jiraiya as the kunai bounced off the shield that was his hardened hair. Not a second later, Jiraiya appeared before Naruto, who looked up surprised. The heel of Jiraiya's Geta sandal planted itself into Naruto's sternum as the kick sent the boy through several trees. Jiraiya put his foot down as his hair shrunk back to its regular length. I thought you'd be able to dodge that. I wasn't even moving that fast. Ouch, said Naruto, standing up out of a tree he sat in. What? Not only didn't you dodge my kick, but now it hurt you. It was a love tap. Duh, that kick was weak. I barely felt that, said Naruto, standing up, genuinely unaffected by the powerful kick. Other than the fading red mark on his chest, Naruto looked no worse for wear. Jiraiya nodded, seeing that, but that didn't explain why he got hit. I'd have caught that weak-ass kick, but I just beat the hell out of myself not 10 seconds ago over who was the head clone. All the memories just hit. Ah, thank goodness. I thought you had got weaker. But wait, your clones fought over who was the head clone? Questioned Jiraiya with a smile forming. Naruto's clones were getting more aggressive and violent the stronger Naruto got. It was amusing to see and hear about, especially considering they all came as split personalities of the original. Who won in the end? Ha, I did, said Naruto, getting Jiraiya to laugh. Naruto chuckled too before putting his hands in the ram seal. Jiraiya's oh shit senses went flaring up when Naruto glowed in a red cloak of oppressive chakra. One tail of the Kyuubi's chakra swished behind him as Naruto marveled at how he felt. Wow, that was easy to bring up. That took no time at all. Kyuubi Naruto was a problem to contend with. I thought you weren't going to use the Kyuubi's chakra until you were a badass? Questioned Jiraiya, getting ready in case the boy rushed him. I might have to get serious. I've been badass since I came out the womb, Erosenin. You know that, said Naruto, making sure he was still in complete control. Since he was, he allowed a second tail to sprout. As his features became feral, Jiraiya could see Naruto's whisker marks darkening. Even the second tail was easy to bring up. I did wonder if I could control this better. And? Questioned Jiraiya before holding up his right arm. He blocked a powerful kick as his hair blew from the force generated. Jiraiya's heel dug into the ground as he nodded his head. I'm guessing you can control that better? Oh yeah? At least one tail. The second one is tough already, said Naruto before dropping the shroud immediately. Jiraiya rose an eyebrow while Naruto stepped back to reset their spar. Seeing the question on his sensei's face, Naruto explained. I still don't want to use the Kyuubi. I did want to see how it felt again. It's way easier to control than a year ago, but I'm not badass until I can put you on your back. Until I can do that, no Kyuubi, continued Naruto, getting a challenging look from his sensei. Jiraiya liked what he was hearing. I'm going to kick your ass as Naruto. If I can do that without the Kyuubi, I should be able to kick anybody's ass in the future when tapping into that power. Don't you agree? I like the idea, said Jiraiya before shifting through hand seals at the same time as Naruto. Too bad you'll never get to use it. Because you'll never put me on my back. We'll see about that. And with that, the student and teacher began anew. Jiraiya was starting to like Naruto. He could keep up in their fights now. Jiraiya would get a workout fighting him finally, at least he hoped. Don't disappoint me. I won't. The two's shouts preceded an explosion that rocked the area. Yeah, Jiraiya would need to work for this one. Sometime later, a look of intensity was on Naruto's face as he stood with the tongue out. He concentrated hard as he had both palms pressed tightly together while funneling chakra through them. He stopped after a second and stood up abruptly. Standing right next to Naruto was Shizuka as she waited to see the results. She was still working with the clones, and this one didn't want to show her how he'd done. Show me, said Shizuka impatiently as the clone shook his head. I'm scared, said the clone as he closed his eyes. The clone opened his hands and waited with bated breath. After a few seconds, when he didn't hear reprimanding, the clone opened his eyes to see Shizuka smiling. The clone looked down at the leaf in his hands as his eyes widened. Almost 90% of it. Yada! I'm the greatest. The clone dispelled as Shizuka blanched at the abrupt disappearance. Shizuka watched the rest of the clones begin to dispel in smoke clouds that confused her. A fast-moving object answered Shizuka's unasked question moments later as the original Naruto came flying into the clearing. He landed roughly in front of her, and was blackened like he'd been in a furnace. Shizuka saw him twitch in the fiery crater he'd created with his body and grinned. How close this time? Questioned Shizuka as Naruto groaned. That groan meant he still didn't land a clean blow on Jiraiya. He is one of the best shinobi in the world. It's no doubt he'd win. I'm going to kick his ass. No worries. Stupid toad oil and stupid fire, said Naruto before rolling over and sitting up. Naruto began to pat the soot off him as he looked up at her. At least I earned a jutsu. He said he'll teach it to me after I wash this ass-whooping off me first, continued Naruto before kipping up. He stood before Shizuka and gave her a heartfelt smile. Thanks for the help on the leaf thing, Shizuka-sensei. I appreciate it. We're not done. Your clone only got 90% of the way finished, said Shizuka as Naruto groaned again. She was taking this sensei thing to heart, it seemed. No clones this time. Show me you can do this. Naruto picked up a leaf and held it between his palms. Forcing chakra through his palms, Naruto opened his hands to show the leaf 90% of the way cut just like his clone did. It made Shizuka shake her head that it was that simple for him. That is phenomenal. It took me years to do this, and he's already that far in such a short amount of time. Thought Shizuka as she looked at Naruto. She could see him frowning because he didn't get all the way through. Shizuka could help with that too because she hadn't given him this bit of advice yet. Well, let me show you how to get the final 10. Put your hands over mine and close your eyes. Just feel the chakra flow through. Naruto put his leaf down and placed his hands over Shizuka's. Naruto closed his eyes and focused intently on the chakra he could feel flowing within Shizuka's body. He couldn't help but notice something about her hands. So soft. Thought Naruto before refocusing on the way her chakra was moving. Okay, let it rip, no pun intended, said Naruto, causing Shizuka to bite back a giggle. Ah, her laugh was so cute. Naruto felt Shizuka's chakra shift quickly before returning to normal. Shizuka opened her hands to show Naruto the perfectly cut leaf. How come you can cut the whole thing? That doesn't seem that different from what I was doing. It isn't. And I'll tell you how since it's your turn, said Shizuka as they switched hand positions. Naruto's hands were inside, and Shizuka's covered his to check his chakra flow. No need to rush it. Take it slow and this time, think sharp and thin. Chakra sharp and thin. Aha, sharp and thin, said Naruto, closing his eyes and prepping to slice through the leaf. Alright, here goes. His chakra is so warm. Thought Shizuka, feeling the heat from his body. He was usually warm, but his chakra made him even warmer. The warmth was comforting as she looked up to see a smirk. You did it that fast? Oh yeah, said Naruto, opening his palms to show the leaf split all the way through. He felt it the moment it happened. Shizuka's eyes lit up with excitement as she looked at Naruto, who only smiled back. You're the best, Shizuka-sensei. Naruto then found himself wrapped up in a hug from the black-haired girl. A very nice hug that he eventually returned. I'm so proud of you, chirped Shizuka happily, squeezing him. It was now she realized what she was doing and blushed. She leaned her head back to look at him in their hug. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I was excited and... It's fine, said Naruto with red tinting his cheeks too. Shizuka's eyes widened, hearing that before realizing the two of them hadn't released the hug. Eventually, Naruto ended it before rubbing the back of his head sheepishly. Thanks again. I do appreciate the help, continued Naruto before looking up. Shizuka's attention was entirely his as he coughed into his hand. Hey, if you're not busy later. Did you maybe want to what? Questioned Shizuka, blush heavy knowing what Naruto wanted to ask her. Naruto looked at her with his blue eyes. She never fully realized how pretty they were until she saw them this close up. They were mesmerizing. He looks really, Shizuka-sama. Shizuka blinked as she and Naruto looked to the right to see a woman standing there. She had short brown hair and a stern expression on her face as Shizuka knew who she was, and she knew that their moment was over, considering who this woman was. Tokiwa. Yes, Shizuka-sama, I didn't mean to disturb you, but said the woman with a sad look on her face. Leader-sama's health is waning. She doesn't have much time left, and wishes to see you. Please return home. Of course, I'll go grab my things now, said Shizuka before turning to see Naruto looking at her. She wanted to confirm what she felt a few moments ago. She knew what he wanted to ask, but she needed him to say it. Naruto-kun, did you? I'll save it for the next time I see you, said Naruto, rubbing the back of his head again. He took a few steps back before waving to her. I am going to see you again, right? Shizuka smiled and nodded, getting Naruto to smile in return. Good, I'll say it then. Nice to meet you, Tokiwa-san. I'll excuse myself. Naruto vanished in a shunshin to leave as Shizuka nodded. I'll return when I can, Naruto-kun. thought Shizuka before heading to grab her things. She was sad hearing about her leader, but they'd known this day was coming soon. Still, she needed to return, and she would. Her thoughts would lead back to Naruto the entire time she was away. I'll be back. I promise. Shizuka wouldn't break that promise. 2 weeks later, this morning, a yawn came from Naruto just like every morning as he sat up in his tent. A scroll smacked Naruto across the face the moment he rose from his slumber. The scroll didn't even phase the awakening Kyuubi Jinchuriki. He didn't even register the scroll as he smacked his lips twice to wake up some more. Several minutes passed before Naruto came walking out of his tent. He had on his Chunin vest, unzipped, and his forehead protector on. It didn't look like he'd be training today. He had a mission to do. Bachan making me do more missions? Questioned Naruto as Jiraiya sat with breakfast cooking over the fire. Jiraiya nodded his head as Naruto groaned. I'm training. I've almost got down your jutsu too. Do you now? Good, but you still got a mission to do. Heim's gotta keep you in the flow of things, said Jiraiya, letting the fire die down as the food was finished. You were the one getting all smart saying you didn't want to focus on the Kyuubi. Tsunade liked that and decided to add garnering mission experience a part of becoming a better shinobi. It doesn't help that you're a machine knocking them out left and right. Damn right I am, but this is another missing nin. And the guy's only a C rank, said Naruto, getting Jiraiya to shiver. Naruto saw it and continued his point. See, I feel exactly how you do. You know I'm too strong for this. You made it so. I know I did. And I agree. You're a Chunin, said Jiraiya, sitting down on a tree stump. He had a plate before him as he looked at his student. Become a Jonin, and she can't hand you those small fries. Well, she could, but she wouldn't. Also, why are you complaining? Didn't that last C-rank guy kick your ass? No, he got lucky. I was dehydrated, and my chakra was low because I trained before going to face him, said Naruto, a bit miffed at that. He'd almost lost to a bum. That would have hurt his pride. Your fault, by the way. And his stupid genjutsu's fault too. I hate genjutsu. You and me both, said Jiraiya, taking a big bite of his food. Naruto looked at the fire to see no other food there. Jiraiya kept munching on his breakfast before feeling Naruto stare at him. What's on your mind? I thought you were making breakfast? I did. For me. You were supposed to be gone an hour ago. Chop chop gaki. You're burning daylight. Naruto shook his head before leaving. Jiraiya was a jerk sometimes. Konoha same time. I thought we weren't going to do this. Questioned Tsunade to the girl over her shoulder. I know. But it's hard not to. Questioned Sakura back as she stood behind the busty blonde. Yes. Yes it is, said Tsunade before pulling out a folder. Opening the folder, a big picture of Naruto was on the paper inside as she smiled at the younger Naruto, the one she met back in Tanzaku, guy who came to bring her home. Look at him. So innocent. I missed this version of the brat. Continued Tsunade with a smile. He couldn't bust a grape back then. And now he's a Chunin taking C-rank and B-rank missions solo like they're nothing. Ah, where did the time go? Sakura smiled before spotting his stats posted at the bottom. Oh wow, he was so bad back then. Is this accurate? Questioned Sakura as she read the stats out loud. Name, Uzumaki Naruto, Chunin exam, age 12, gender male, clan, believed Uzumaki clan, affiliated with Konoha, ninja rank, genin, physical description, 4 feet 9 inches tall, 88 pounds. Has blue eyes and spiky, golden, blonde hair with 6 whisker mark-like scars, 3 on each cheek. Elements, no known elements. Rank C rank, special talents, proficient in the use of Kagebunshin. Can even use the forbidden version, Taju Kagebunshin. Summoner of Mount Miyaboku Toads. Has a mysterious second source of powerful chakra. Bounty, not available. Stats, ninjutsu, 3 taijutsu, 2 genjutsu, 1 intelligence, 1.5 strength, 3 speed, 3 stamina, 4 hand seals, 1, total 18.5. Wow. He was awful, said Sakura as Tsunade could only nod her head. You weren't much better if I remember, Sakura. If you were better in the first place. He at least took out the Ichibi, said Tsunade as the pink-haired girl twitched a bit. Naruto was also the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, the mysterious second chakra he has. That was a secret though, so Tsunade didn't want to dwell on it and get Sakura curious. But from what I've heard, we'll be thoroughly shocked when he comes back. Jiraiya's confident I'll be amazed at his return. Said the kid has already passed his expectations. Well, he'll be shocked when he sees me too, said Sakura as Tsunade turned to Sakura. Sakura noticed the stare and raised an eyebrow. Yes, Shursho, you're right. He will be shocked. And we'll be sure of it. Time for more training, said Tsunade as Sakura groaned internally. Not going to let that pervert beat me. With Naruto 5 miles from camp, munching on a rice ball, Naruto walked around a small battle site. Naruto saw craters in the ground and signs of a short conflict. This was in line with what his shadow clone's memories gave him. I just missed him. He beat my clone and even managed to get away before I could get here, said Naruto, polishing off his breakfast. Naruto jolted when he heard footsteps behind him. He's still here? Look alive, chump, said a hulking man behind him. The man double-handed smashed Naruto into the ground with force. A crater formed with Naruto's body that looked distinctly like the others in the area. The man simply smirked at his easy win. Better yet, looked dead. Your clone was much better. Naruto poofed away in a smoke cloud, getting the man's eyes to widen. Had he been a clone too? The man heard a swirling noise from behind him as he felt pain moments later. Rasengan, said Naruto while planting the jutsu in the man's back. The Rasengan carved through the man's plated armor and shirt as it sent him right into the crater he created moments earlier. Naruto's crater was much bigger. Yeah, buddy, mine's bigger. As if anyone didn't already know that. Continued Naruto with a nod and smirk. Granted, he carved his crater with the man's own as a base, but that was irrelevant to Naruto's pride. Winners didn't have to worry about that. Naruto's eyebrow rose though as he looked over to see Shizuka smiling at him. Shizuka-chan. You're back. And you followed me? Without me knowing? Someone's gotten sneakier. Hi, Naruto-kun. And it wasn't hard. You should check behind you sometime, said Shizuka, walking over to Naruto, who only smiled. Shizuka loved the excitement on Naruto's face when he noticed her. Too bad she couldn't be just as excited. I have some news. I'll be staying in Nadeshiko for a little while longer. Shizuka saw Naruto's eyebrows raised as she nodded. I'm becoming the next leader of Nadeshiko. Can't leave my village when chasing a boy, can I? Would make that a bit difficult, said Naruto, picking the missing nin up. Naruto frowned a bit, but he replaced it with a smile quickly. He didn't want to be doom and gloom with the girl he wouldn't see again for a while. That sucks. I could have used your help with the next stage in wind manipulation, and I'll miss my lunch buddy and sparring partner. Is that all I was? No, you're a little more. A little more like what? Questioned Shizuka, eager to know. Stay, and I'll tell you. Shizuka smiled but shook her head at Naruto's condition. Next leader, so I can't, but you could come back with me to Nadeshiko. I'll show you more of the wind stuff, and we can keep eating lunch together, said Shizuka as the two began to walk together. Naruto laughed with the large man slung over his shoulder as Shizuka smiled sweetly at him. You know you want to. You miss me, didn't you? A little bit. But next time, perhaps. I won't let you trick me into marrying you when I get there, said Naruto as Shizuka merely shook her head. No marriage, spoke Shizuka, getting Naruto to look at her. He could see a devious smirk spreading across Shizuka's face, and it raised Naruto's curiosity. This time, I was going to take you prisoner. I know more about you now, Naruto-kun. Aka Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, said Shizuka as Naruto quirked an eyebrow. She did see his seal once before and probably put two and two together from there. Clever little thing she was. Jiraiya's fault more than likely. You'd be a very valuable barter if I were to capture you. What would Konoha give up for your safe return? Quite a bit, I'd like to think. Husband material and probably very valuable to one of the strongest villages in the world. Wow, I should add those to my resume now that I think about it, said Naruto as Shizuka nodded her head. You got a nice butt too, said Shizuka, glaring at Naruto's backside. Naruto blushed hearing her state that so unabashedly. He turned to the girl, and his blush deepened seeing her checking him out. I got a good view of it while I was following you here. I'll add that too then. Shizuka perked up and turned to see another Naruto there. Shizuka looked to the blushing Naruto beside her to see him no longer blushing, only grinning heavily. Had she been duped? Shizuka turned back to the real Naruto behind her and saw him smiling at her. I followed you following me. You should check behind you sometime, Shizuka-chan. Shizuka looked up at the real Naruto closing in on her, as the clone Naruto next to her kept walking forward with the captured missing nin. Shizuka saw Naruto smirk as he passed her stunned frame. Oh, Naruto was good. A little too good considering his following line. You got a nice butt too. Shizuka smiled before giddily following after the blonde. She missed him as well. 2 hours later, she's a big girl, Erosenin. Why do we have to walk her back? She'll be fine. My pupil, which I'm not saying you are, is chivalrous just like me. We are going to escort that lady back to her village because it is the right thing to do, said Jiraiya as Naruto shook his head. You want to walk her back because you want to do some pervy research on the Nadeshiko Kunoichi again, said Naruto accusingly as he pointed at his sensei. He then turned and pointed at the smiling Shizuka. She's going to make me marry her. I can't go back there. No marriage, Naruto-kun. Oh, right, remembered Naruto. Shizuka did say she didn't care about the marriage. It didn't make the other option she gave better. Yeah, no marriage. She's going to take me prisoner instead. I can't go there. You act like either of those are a bad thing, said Jiraiya lecherously. Naruto frowned at his pervert of a sensei and watched him clap his hands together happily. Now's let's hop to it. Shizuka stood at the edge of the clearing with a smile on her face. She watched Naruto begrudgingly walk toward her with a defeated look. Jiraiya walked up to the two right after with a big smile on his face. Let's get this show on the road, started Jiraiya before he vanished in a poof of smoke. Shizuka looked up in surprise at that as she turned to Naruto. Naruto didn't have any reaction to the man's disappearance. Unlike Shizuka, Naruto had seen this numerous times. He got summoned by the toads. He'll be back eventually, said Naruto as he turned to the Nadeshiko Kunoichi. She looked to be wondering what the game plan was. Sadly, Naruto would have to follow through with Jiraiya's. Welp, let's get you back home. Ero-sennin would kick my ass if I let you go back alone. And like that, Naruto and Shizuka were headed back to Nadeshiko. About a day's walk from where they currently were, Mount Mayaboku with Jiraiya. Arriving in the paradise land of the toads, Jiraiya looked around before seeing a tiny green toad wearing a cloak. Fukasaku-sama, I am honored to be here. Is there something I need to hear? Asked Jiraiya as the small toad smiled. Of course, Jiraiya-chan. The elder sage has a new prophecy for you to hear, my boy, said Fukasaku with a smile. The toad led the white-haired man through the paradise valley. Jiraiya and the small toad continued along a path as they came upon an enormous throne-like chair. Sitting in that chair was a giant toad with wrinkles and pronounced eyebrows to add to his elderly appearance. Ah, yes. I knew you would be coming, said the toad as he looked at the white-haired man he summoned here. Who are you again? A palm found its way to Jiraiya's face as the Sannin drug it down in exasperation. Jiraiya looked up at the sage and, just before answering, heard a loud snore come from him. It's going to be a while, said Fukasaku as Jiraiya frowned. Jiraiya sat in a lotus position while waiting for the elder sage to wake up. Naruto would be okay without him for a little bit. He always was, and the kid better have taken Shizuka back to Nadeshiko. I'll kick his ass if he doesn't. With Naruto and Shizuka one day later. It's just the gentleman thing to do, said Naruto as he was walking along a path with Shizuka that was headed to Nadeshiko. Ero-sennin told me I had to do it as well. I'm not getting closer than a mile. Ah, you've said that already. Are you that scared, Naruto-kun? Questioned Shizuka looking at the Jinchuriki. No, I'm not scared, said Naruto before Shizuka jumped at him. She only twitched but Naruto jumped back with a kunai appearing in both hands. He stood at the ready until he saw Shizuka laughing at him. At least you know I'm ready. Yeah, I also know you're scared. Even if it's a little bit, said Shizuka walking ahead of Naruto. And here I thought you were nice all this time. I am nice, but, agreed, cut off Naruto. Shizuka perked up, hearing him say he agreed, and turned back to see his eyes looking at her. Shizuka wondered what Naruto meant before turning back forward to continue her point. Naruto's eyes returned to where they were. On Shizuka's posterior. Really nice, but, glad you like it. Naruto saw Shizuka smack her bottom, which got him to stop perving. Naruto was caught as Shizuka shimmied her bottom, knowing where Naruto was looking. Nice but. You're not sneaky, Naruto-kun. You pervert. Huh. I wasn't perving. I appreciate your hard work, said Naruto, getting Shizuka to smirk at him. Naruto frowned. He thought he was getting away with his perving. I need more lessons. Ero-sennin never gets caught when he does this to Bachan. I should have. Naruto suddenly stopped before sniffing the air. Shizuka noticed his shift in demeanor, and wondered what was going on. Naruto-kun? What is it? Questioned Shizuka, getting on edge at Naruto, taking off in a dead sprint. Shizuka took off behind Naruto as he disappeared through the woods. Shizuka's nose began to pick up the eerie scent Naruto could smell as her heart began to sink. Oh, please no. Shizuka came bursting out of the woods next to Naruto. The pungent stench of blood was heavy in the air as bodies of Nadeshiko kunoichis lay about. All of them dead from first impression, considering the blood covering their bodies. An arm around her waist kept Shizuka from rushing in. She wondered why Naruto was stopping her, and he answered it by silently pointing a little distance away. Shizuka looked up to see two men in black cloaks walking through the slain kunoichis. Akatsuki, spoke Naruto softly, getting Shizuka to understand. Akatsuki, a group of S-rank criminals that were targeting Jinchuriki. These were the people after Naruto. It was the explanation Jiraiya had given her when she asked why Naruto needed to leave Konoha to train. Also, how she concluded that Naruto was a Jinchuriki considering he was being targeted. And it seemed two members were enough to assault her village. Shizuka didn't care who they were. They'd killed her people. She couldn't stop the furious tears coming to her eyes before she broke out of Naruto's hold. Naruto panicked, seeing the girl take off, charging toward the two members of Akatsuki. You bastards! Shouted Shizuka, getting the two men's attention. When they turned to her voice, there was nothing there but the slew of Nadeshiko kunoichi they'd run through. I thought the ones we didn't kill had evacuated? Questioned one of the men. Guess someone didn't get the memo. Shouted the other one. Naruto sat with Shizuka wrapped up tighter this time as they hid. The old Naruto probably would have been all aboard fighting the Akatsuki for what they did to Shizuka's village. But this wasn't the old Naruto. This was a Naruto with over a year of actual tutelage in the shinobi arts. One of those was knowing when you were in over your head. Naruto had been given a rough guideline on who made up the group from Jiraiya, and he did not like his odds with any member he knew about. Not only was Shizuka not in the right mindset to fight, but the two they were going against were S-rank criminals. Jiraiya said any one of them could potentially take him down, and Naruto knew, from the repeated beatdowns, that he couldn't even hit Jiraiya cleanly yet. They would lose and lose hard. So he kept Shizuka quiet with a hand around her mouth, and the other snugly around her waist. They couldn't be found. It would not end well for them. Found you. Life just couldn't give him a break. Naruto looked to see the two members of Akatsuki standing before he and Shizuka. One had tan skin and interesting green and red eyes. The other had fair skin and a wicked triple-bladed scythe in his hands. Wait, those stupid-ass whisker marks, spoke the one holding the scythe. An evil grin rose to his face remembering who this was. Kyubi Jinchuriki. Oh, this day can't get any better. It didn't get better, spoke the other one looking at Naruto and Shizuka. He looked a bit impressed at Naruto. You're not the real one, are you? Neither of you. No, the real me is long gone, said Naruto letting go of Shizuka, who turned to another Naruto with a poof of smoke. The two clones stood up opposing the Akatsuki members. Why did you attack this village? Because we could. Naruto turned to the fair-skinned member with slicked-back silver hair. What is your name? What do you want to know it for? Because I'm going to kill you first, said Naruto, and the look in his eyes was quite chilling. Ha, I'd love to see you try, replied the man grinning at Naruto. The look was scary, but the man before Naruto only found it amusing. I'll be waiting for you, Kyubi. Good. And like that, the two clones dispelled. The real Naruto was sprinting with Shizuka on his back. After stopping the girl a second time, Naruto took no chances and knocked her unconscious. He then created two clones, one transforming to Shizuka, before taking off with the girl on his back piggyback style. He didn't want to run, but there wasn't going to be a good outcome no matter what if they'd confronted the Akatsuki members. So Naruto fled. When the memories of his clones hit, Naruto growled primally. I'm killing him, said Naruto before looking at the sleeping Shizuka. Naruto settled her head on his shoulder, and could see the marks her tears had stained on her face. Naruto doubled down on that earlier statement as he turned back to keep running. I'm killing them both. Naruto ran in silence from that point forward. He had another goal to work for now. Chapter 4, Don't Be Blinded. 6 months later, Naruto aged 14. How did this happen? A question spoke softly by Naruto in the dead of night. Naruto had one hand under his head while he lay in his tent. It was probably around midnight if the Jinchuriki had to guess, and he found himself unable to sleep. And sleep was something someone very close to Naruto was getting right now. Hell, they were getting it while using Naruto as a pillow. Naruto looked down and saw a heap of black hair lying across his chest. Beautiful hair that belonged to the girl cuddled up against him. It was Shizuka resting atop him as Naruto's other arm encircled her. Naruto smiled, seeing how peaceful the girl looked, and it was completely different than it was half a year ago. She was going to return home 6 months ago. Thought Naruto, reflecting on what happened. The day she was going back to get ready to be her village's next leader, the Akatsuki attacked. They slaughtered most of her village. Probably not minutes before we got there. Shizuka had been quiet since that day and didn't speak much at all. It wasn't much Naruto or Jiraiya could do as they allowed the girl a period to mourn her lost village and comrades. And considering she had nowhere else to go, Jiraiya lobbied that the girl stay with them until she figured out what to do. Shizuka only nodded her head as that seemed the best option. The girl's melancholy was palpable from that day forward, and there wasn't much that would change it. One night though, after a few days of silence, Shizuka began having horrid nightmares. Nightmares that repeated themselves every night from that point forward. It got to the point that Jiraiya eventually forced his student to do something. And that something happened to be comforting the girl. It was the only thing Naruto could think of. He had no clue if it would work, but Shizuka accepted his offer that night, and the two of them slept next to each other. The nightmare didn't come that evening nor the following nights after their one-off sleeping arrangement. But after those days, the nightmares returned. So, Naruto returned to sleeping next to the Nadeshiko princess. The nightmares stopped once more. This cycle repeated until Shizuka realized Naruto's presence somehow kept the night terrors away. And with that, she asked Naruto to be her permanent sleep buddy, at least until she was confident the nightmares wouldn't come back. Eager to help the girl who'd lost her home, Naruto accepted, and here they were now 6 months after. Naruto was still Shizuka's comfort. It became so routine that Naruto didn't even think twice when she came into his tent at night, only scooting over to allow the girl room to sleep. Sakura-chan, Ba-chan, all of them are going to kill me. They'll think I'm doing something perverted. Naruto frowned, thinking he could be labeled a pervert. That meant that Jiraiya had successfully gotten him. Meh, it was bound to happen anyway. Erosenin's been getting a kick out of this as well, and Naruto was right. After the first 2 weeks, it was weird with Jiraiya not saying anything about their sleeping together, probably due to the events that occurred in Nadeshiko being the reason Shizuka needed Naruto there in the first place. But after a while, the teasing from the perverted man came and grew more lecherous as time passed. Don't do anything I would do. Do everything I would do. You always sleep half naked? Or was that when she started joining you? Do you make her go shirtless too? 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink. Trust me, 60% of the time, it works every time. Some of the lines Jiraiya spoke passed through Naruto's head. He shook his head to clear his thoughts of his sensei's words. The guy shouldn't have been left unsupervised in his watching of Naruto. His guardian needed his own guardian. Deciding to try to get some rest finally, Naruto closed his eyes, and Shizuka's soft snores lulled him to sleep. He was out in seconds. Who knew that's all he had to do rather than let his brain wander? Next morning, okay, here goes. Elemental Jutsu 1A, take 36, said Naruto as he took a deep breath to calm himself. Slowly going through the tiger, snake, and ram hand seals, Naruto channeled his chakra. Futon, Kami Oroshir, Wind Style, Godly wind from the mountain. Naruto held his palms out, the bottom of each palm touching, as a gust of wind shot forward in a vortex. Naruto smiled before looking to the side. Woo! Is that a success or what? Questioned Naruto looking at his spectators. There were 4 spectators, 1 being Shizuka and 3 being clones. Shizuka looked at the clones as they all held up signs with numbers. Naruto frowned, seeing the scores from his clone judges. What? A 6, 4, and 5? That had to be at least an 8. Vortex. Powerful. Cool. Right. Naruto got stone faces from his clones and growled at them. I'm learning these damn jutsu myself. There isn't even a premise to go off of outside of what Jiraiya kind of remembers. It has to be an 8 off that alone. Shizuka-chan? Shizuka shook her head, seeing Naruto turn to her. She was the mediator by the original's command since Naruto's clones were haters. They rarely liked anything he did, which was weird because he was them. So, Shizuka was there to make sure they weren't hating, but Shizuka agreed with the clones this time. They are right. You did the jutsu fine. It's just, you hurt yourself doing it, said Shizuka as Naruto sat awkwardly in the destroyed training post he flew into from the backlash of his technique. You need to counterbalance the wind pressure, so you don't send yourself backward. That's probably the reason for the low scores. Naruto nodded his head as he stood up from the torn-up training post. Probably not an 8 if he was shooting himself backward with the same force he was expelling. That probably halved his power output now that he thought about it. Well, maybe. Naruto didn't know how to science. Or is that mathematics? It doesn't matter. Thought Naruto, not good with the mental stuff. And Naruto didn't like doing things he wasn't good at. His ego couldn't take the humility. Alright, fine. It sucked. By the way, I didn't hurt myself by destroying this wooden post. Daddy's made of tough stuff, said Naruto smacking his chest twice. He made Shizuka give that cute giggle he loved hearing before turning to the other side of the clearing. There sat a larger-than-human-sized toad behind a camera. Yo Kichi, you rolling still? Naruto's favorite toad, Gamakichi, threw a thumbs up his way, getting him to smile. Gamakichi was such a good camera toad. Naruto liked having films of his training because studying himself was good. Studying was all he could do if he'd gone too hard that day in training. He couldn't do much else when he did such a thing, and Gamakichi was his best bud. He was Naruto's favorite summon from Mount Myaboku with no questions asked. Gamakichi could fight, hang, and was always down for his main man, Naruto. He never let Naruto down. Great. Elemental Jutsu 1A, take 37, said Naruto taking another deep breath before releasing it. Hand seals made much quicker this time. Naruto moved his hands to his hip. Futon, Kami Orosher, wind style, godly wind from the mountain. Just like before, Naruto's jutsu activated perfectly like the last time. Too perfectly as it sent him in the other direction again. This time, instead of a training post, Naruto was snagged one-handed by his sensei, Jiraiya. Naruto stepped back and looked wide-eyed, seeing his teacher. Ero-sennin? You're back. It's been almost 3 weeks, said Naruto as he noticed the stern look on his sensei's face. The 3 spectating clones got the message as they all dispelled in poofs of smoke. Gamakichi got the message too and returned home. What's up with the face? You found them, said Shizuka lowly before jumping out of the tree. She landed on the ground and walked up to stand in front of Jiraiya. You found the people who attacked my village? Please tell me you have. Jiraiya nodded his head and saw fire in the girl's eyes. He spoke to keep her from getting too rowdy. I want revenge too for what they did, but we cannot be blinded by it, said Jiraiya as Shizuka calmly listened to the toad sage. Naruto stood to the side behind Shizuka, listening as well. He knew this was for him too. There's been a spotting near Takigakure of the man Naruto saw, tri-bladed scythe and Akatsuki cloak. We will head there and exterminate him and his partner. They are extremely dangerous. Understood? Naruto nodded his head to his sensei's rule as Shizuka did too. Jiraiya looked at the two he'd be going with and felt uneasy about both options. It didn't matter because it wasn't even his choice. They both were coming regardless. Shizuka was going to hunt these guys with or without Jiraiya. Jiraiya didn't think she was ready to face them one bit. She was good but not that good in Jiraiya's eyes. It was no question in his mind. But if she were going to hunt them, he'd rather her do so with her having adequate backup. She might not die that way. Naruto was coming, and Jiraiya didn't like that either. Not because he didn't think Naruto couldn't handle it. Naruto would smack Jiraiya if he said that. The kid was able to these days. The kid's progression was insane with those clones. Jiraiya felt uneasy about Naruto because the kid was their target. Jiraiya would be dangling the bait out there for the Akatsuki. That made the Sannin not want to take Naruto, but the boy was his best option. This whole training trip has been about prepping Naruto for them. Naruto would be okay. Jiraiya was worrying needlessly. Good, we'll head out when you two get ready, said Jiraiya as the two nodded and headed back to camp to get their stuff. Jiraiya looked up to the sky as a vision of Shizuka's sensei flooded through it. The last leader of Nadeshiko and the one who'd fought for Jiraiya's heart so many years ago. Don't worry. I will avenge you. I am a man of peace, but I cannot forgive something like that. Jiraiya stood alone in the clearing for a little while as he waited for the arrival of his teenage charges. It was time for some good old-fashioned revenge. No politics, just the Akatsuki and them. You both ready? Questioned Jiraiya, not surprised the two returned pretty quickly. Yes, Jiraiya-sama, born ready Ero-senin. Good, we'll head out when Naruto stops staring at Shizuka's butt. Shizuka blushed hearing what Jiraiya said. Stop dry snitching. You're old and can't appreciate it like I can. Shizuka's blush deepened hearing Naruto not deny Jiraiya's claims. Meh, you know it's not fun unless you let them catch you anyway. Wait, Jiraiya told Naruto to let himself be caught? Thought Shizuka as Naruto spoke again. I agree, but sometimes I find doing it without her knowledge better. Because now that she knows I do, she'll try harder to find me doing it thus, making getting caught easier. Jiraiya agreed with Naruto's logic as Shizuka was shocked. Had he looked at her but more than the time she'd caught him? She thought she always caught him, and why did she like him perving over her? Alright, I'm good. We're ready to roll. Alright, let's get to it then. And with that, the team of three departed. Shizuka was noticeably less tense than she was earlier. All part of Jiraiya's plan that Naruto helped him execute flawlessly. They couldn't have her too tight when they caught up to Akatsuki. The exact opposite of what Naruto, and he went on this training trip for. Tsunade would kill me if she knew what I was doing with the Gaki. Konoha same time. Why do I feel like punching Jiraiya, right in the face, with all of my might? Thought Tsunade randomly before returning to what she was doing, and she frowned at what she saw. No, said Tsunade in a disappointed tone. Sakura, no. A solid punch to the stomach lifted Sakura off the ground and sent her flying back through the air. Sakura landed on the ground roughly and skidded a few more feet before coming to a painful stop. Sakura groaned in pain before placing a healing hand of chakra to her stomach from the hard punch by Tsunade. As Sakura let out a sigh, Tsunade walked over and stood above the pink-haired Kunoichi with a what's going on look. I can't stop thinking about what Naruto is doing. Or even just him, I guess, said Sakura as Tsunade raised an eyebrow. Naruto? Over Sasuke? Naruto didn't desert the village, informed Sakura with a frown thinking about her dark-haired teammate. She gritted her teeth before shaking her head. I'm trying to think less about him anyway. And I think Naruto is taking his place since he's always there now. Are you developing feelings for the brat? Questioned Tsunade, getting an incredulous look from her pupil. What? No, that's like asking if you have feelings for Jiraiya-sama, said Sakura as Tsunade tilted her head curiously. She hadn't thought of the parallels between her relationship with Jiraiya and her student's relationship with Jiraiya's student. That was a bit weird now that she'd been made aware of it. Sakura shook her head again as she continued speaking. It's like, I know how he feels about me, but we're teammates, and I don't reciprocate those feelings. I do care for him, and I wonder how he's doing, or if he's gotten into something stupid. It's weird not to be able to check up on him whenever I want or see him maturing like I am. Ah, I feel the same too. And you should know, the Gaki is an idiot. Of course, he's gotten into something stupid, said Tsunade with a faint smile. Those always seemed to come when she thought about Naruto. Man, she missed that brat. But you know, whatever it is, he'll pull through it as he always does. Damn, now you got me thinking about the Gaki. I wonder if he's met any girls out there? He might have lost his innocence. Sakura's healing stopped at that line as she looked up at Tsunade. You think Naruto met a girl out there? Questioned Sakura, almost laughing at the notion. Naruto? Her Naruto? As if. Even if he did, he's utterly infatuated with me. Not that I'm the cocky type, but a girl can't help but have an inflated ego when someone is so fond of you. There are parallels, Sakura, but Naruto isn't like Jiraiya in all ways. 1. He looks way better than Super Pervert ever will. And even if he was hooked on you, I'm sure Jiraiya will try to break him of it, said Tsunade, causing Sakura's eyes to widen. She didn't think about that. It was still Naruto, and Tsunade wouldn't disregard that. The boy had adored Sakura since he'd seen her, so the story goes. But you may be right. Who would and could take your place? Kid's been all over you since he was a little tater-tot. What if Naruto does find a girl? It was a childhood crush. What if he's grown out of it? Questioned Sakura before shaking her head and standing up. No, that's impossible, and if it does happen, good for him. At least he won't bug me anymore, and I hope that doesn't turn out to be a bad thing, and I miss his constant swooning over me. Sakura hated that she was still thinking about this. They wouldn't stop. Nope, I won't miss it. I still have Lee. But Lee is creepy. Naruto's at least fairly kind of cute. Ugh, I just said he's cute. I need a way to stop thinking about him, or else I'll come back and fight me, Sakura. We aren't done, said Tsunade, taking Sakura out of her thoughts. Beatdowns from Tsunade would get Naruto out of her brain. Outskirts of Takigakure 2 days later. Not even once? No. Are you gay? No. How then? No. That doesn't exactly answer the question, Gaki. No, and because I'm not a pervert like you, Ero-senin. A conversation between master and student. Naruto sat around a campfire with Jiraiya as the two shared breakfast. They were currently near Takigakure, looking for any lead on the Akatsuki, and to soften the mood of what they were eventually about to get into, Jiraiya began asking Naruto how he did it, does it, and continues to do it. You either have the sheer willpower of Kami or, said Jiraiya, shaking his head at the first option. No one had that much willpower except Kami. Naruto was no god, not even close, so it had to be another reason. Are you gay? I have to ask again if you were ashamed to say it beforehand. It's fine if you are because you have to be. Then again, you can't because you fawn over your teammates so hard. Continued Jiraiya, not understanding at all. He looked at Naruto, and had to know. How do you go to bed at night with that every night, and not get excited? Jiraiya emphasized that with a finger point as Naruto turned his head. He saw Shizuka taking a dip in the lake next to their current clearing. Naruto sat there watching, unaffected by the water glistening down her creamy and smooth skin, or even how her bikini left not much, but just enough, to the imagination to make you want. You're not about to get me erosenin. You're like a creepy uncle trying to pawn me off on girls my age you think I find sexy, said Naruto, getting a head nod from the Sannin. The man didn't even deny it was what he was doing. Probably because he knew Naruto thinks Shizuka is sexy. We got some Akatsuki members to take down, not a princess. Stop losing focus. Naruto stood with a red face before walking away from his teacher to get ready. Jiraiya smiled at the progressively more noticeable pervert in his student. Naruto hadn't stopped looking at Shizuka the whole time since he first did, even as he walked away to his tent to get dressed. Naruto was right. It was time to get to business. Jiraiya polished off his plate of food before standing up. Before he could yell to Shizuka, Naruto returned from his tent and stopped him. No need to yell. I can go tell Shizuka-chan we're ready. Jiraiya perked up hearing that. Oh? Alright, be quick about it, said Jiraiya, seeing Naruto already dressed. He had a towel over his shoulder that Jiraiya grinned at. Naruto was close, and Jiraiya wanted to ensure his influence ran deep. Thus, he needed to offer Naruto logical outs to his perverted plans. You realize she already has a towel, right? Plus, it's much easier to yell and get her attention from here. No need, it's not that big of a deal to walk over there. Don't want to shout and draw attention to us anyway, replied Naruto, getting Jiraiya's grin to widen. Yes, Jiraiya's influence ran mighty deep. Naruto held up the towel and answered Jiraiya's other question. And I'm bringing the second towel to help her dry off. You did say be quick about it. 2 towels are better than 1, you know. Yes, welcome to the dark side, my boy. Thought a happy Jiraiya, turning to get ready too. Jiraiya had finally gotten Naruto. And Naruto was glad too. If not, Naruto would have never asked Shizuka if she wanted help, nor would he have found out Shizuka would accept his assistance. Oh, how blind he had been. Maybe this whole pervert thing isn't that bad? Thought Naruto with a lascivious smile, while he toweled off Shizuka. The dark side was already looking up. 2 hours later, the trio eventually got on the hunt and got closer to Taki. From there, they hoped to find a lead on the Akatsuki so they could hunt them down. And right now, Naruto was curious about something considering he didn't know. So where exactly is Takigakure Erosenin? It's a village hidden by a waterfall, as the name suggests. The only way to access it is through a cave under said waterfall, said Jiraiya in reply to his student. He then gave a necessary warning considering Naruto would internalize this information. It probably could be helpful to him in the future. Who knows, though, the trick is finding which one is the correct cave, because if you choose wrong, you'll get trapped and die. And yes, even you with your bijou and freaky fast healing. Wow, I assume you know the correct one then? Of course I do. I'm Konoha's spy network kid. I know about a lot of stuff, said Jiraiya in a matter-of-fact tone. He was good at his job and wanted to be respected for it. However, we're not going to Takigakure because they aren't still there, more than likely. It's been 2 days. Then why did we head to Takigakure in the first place if who we are looking for isn't even going to be there? Questioned Shizuka, miffed at the time they'd wasted coming here if they weren't going to find the Akatsuki here. Jiraiya was ready to answer the black-haired beauty but saw Naruto knew the answer and allowed his apprentice the honor. My apprentice? Nope, I didn't just think that. A little perversion doesn't make him mine officially. Thought Jiraiya as Naruto turned to Shizuka, because they're after the Jinchuriki. Takigakure holds the 7 tails, and in all likelihood, they have captured the Jinchuriki, said Naruto, continuing since Jiraiya didn't stop him. They wouldn't stick around the hidden village they stole it from to extract it, so we're going to pick up the trail they left whenever they fled from the village. Precisely, said Jiraiya before biting his thumb and placing it on the ground. A poof of smoke sounded off as a small yellow toad appeared from it. Hello, can you help me find some strong chakras? The toad nodded as it placed its hands in the ram's seal. Channeling its chakra, the toad seemed to find what it figured Jiraiya was looking for. The toad led the way with the 3 ninjas following right behind it. Gotta love sensor toads. Shizuka and Naruto couldn't help but agree with Jiraiya on that. Sometime later, so this is it? They're behind that boulder? Questioned Jiraiya quietly as he, Naruto, and Shizuka were situated in a few trees. Those trees were up on a cliff above a ravine with a cave with a boulder blocking its entrance. The sensor toad nodded his head before Jiraiya looked at the 2 teens. Kind of close there, aren't you? Questioned Jiraiya in a nonchalant tone. Shizuka and Naruto's shoulders were touching, and neither had a problem with it. Shizuka didn't react at all due to her focus on getting revenge. Naruto frowned at his sensei, which the Sannin was hoping for. At least Naruto was loose still, just trying to get rid of any jitters you may have. But yes, they are. You remember the plan, correct? Me and Shizuka-chan take one, and you take the other. Our job is to stall until you manage to finish off your guy, and then we all finish the second together, right? Questioned Naruto as Jiraiya nodded his head before his face turned more serious. One more time, these are dangerous ninjas. One mistake, and you will die. Are you sure you both want to do this? Questioned Jiraiya, looking to see no hesitation from Shizuka in any way, and Naruto only nodding his head. Shizuka wanted revenge. She was more than ready, and this is what his apprentice had been training to face. What better way to test if you were prepared? I have to stop acknowledging you as my apprentice. It's the second time I've done it in my head today. You know I am. Don't lie to yourself. It's unhealthy, said Naruto before holding his right palm up. Chakra swirled in his palm to form a perfect Rasengan. Shall I? Jiraiya nodded his head, getting Naruto to vanish in a shunshin. Naruto appeared before the boulder with his arm cocked back. Knock knock! Rasengan. Naruto thrust the ball into the boulder, and cracked it immediately. The boulder had a spiderweb crack form before Naruto let his Rasengan detonate, and explode the boulder inward. Once the dust and debris cleared, the Kyuubi Jinchuriki bore witness to quite the sight in front of him. 8 holograms and 2 actual people stood on top of what looked like fingers to a statue. The statue had dragons flowing out of it, and into a girl with tan skin. They must be extracting her bijou, thought Naruto angrily. That girl looked no older than him, and she'd perished from what was happening. Naruto's eyes glowed red when he saw the girl drop to the ground lifeless, as whatever ritual they were doing was now over. Her chakra signature is gone. She's dead. Extraction of the nanobi complete. You all may go, said a spiky-haired projection as all the other holograms disappeared. That particular hologram then turned to the physically present members of Akatsuki and gave them instructions. Take care of the Kyuubi. Capture him if possible. Naruto watched the last projection disappear, and the statue dispelled in a poof of smoke. The 2 real ninjas in the room turned to Naruto to see him growling at them. He could see the nanobi Jinchuriki, and his whisker marks began to darken as his pupils slit. No Kyuubi, thought Naruto, calming himself down. His eyes returned to their usual blue, and his whisker marks lightened up to their normal state. Naruto then looked at the 2 members of Akatsuki and figured it was time to get started. Did I interrupt something? I apologize if I did, said Naruto before the tan one rushed him. He came with impressive speed that made Naruto's eyes widen. Ducking a punch from the masked ninja, Naruto spun into a sweep kick that the ninja jumped over. Guess I was. Ah well. Coming into a stand from his spin kick, Naruto began to defend against the Akatsuki member's taijutsu. He was doing well and blocking well. The ninja wasn't giving him any opportunities to capitalize on, which annoyed Naruto, especially when he caught a knee aimed at his ribs. His body feels like stone. And even catching his knee took my breath, so I couldn't counter like I wanted to, thought Naruto before bringing both arms up to block a punch that felt made of granite. Naruto skidded back 20 feet from the blow as he shook out the feeling in his forearm. This dude is good, and his strikes are powerful. I can't take much more of them, even blocking them all. Kyuubi chakra healing the small fracture from blocking the punch, Naruto witnessed the silver-haired man he saw come leaping over his partner with his tri-blade scythe. A war cry came from the man as Naruto paid it no attention while whipping out a kunai. Naruto blocked the first strike as the ninja continued coming at him with a reckless offensive. Naruto could counter him. His taijutsu was impressive, and the scythe made his reach longer, but he didn't compare to his partner. Naruto nodded his head, knowing this before ducking the man's next swipe and planting his foot in the man's stomach. The kick caused him to keel over the foot in his gut as Naruto spun before extending his hands toward the man. Futon, Kami or Osher, wind style, godly wind from the mountain, said Naruto as a sudden gust of wind lifted the man clear up the cliff 50 feet away. Naruto then stood up, happy that he managed to not blow himself backward, before looking at the first man who attacked him. Seeing the man's face, Naruto tilted his head. What's with the look, Gramps? That was pretty impressive, Kyuubi Jinchuriki. My partner is an imbecile, said the man with an amused chuckle. He cracked his knuckles and readied for round 2 with the Jinchuriki. You won't beat me if that's all you got. I got more, don't worry. I'm not going to be fighting you though, said Naruto as the man's eyes widened when he felt a powerful and concussive ball of chakra hit him square in the back. Rasengan, said Jiraiya with authority as the jutsu carved its way into the man's back. Jiraiya let his Rasengan detonate and blasted the Akatsuki member into the cliff face. That's Kakazu, a nuke nin from Takigakure that uses the forbidden jutsu, Jiangu, Earth Grudge Fear. Continued Jiraiya, looking to where he blasted the man. Jiraiya was ready for anything as he kept speaking to Naruto. That one Rasengan isn't enough to take him out. Go and help your girlfriend with the other guy. I'll handle this. He's definitely out of your league. Naruto nodded his head before turning to see Shizuka already en route to Kakazu's partner's location. Naruto made haste to catch her as Jiraiya looked at the man still stuck in the cliff from his earlier surprise attack. Jiraiya watched the man twitch as if coming back to life before he began to push himself out of the cliff. Jiraiya of the Toads. I should have known you'd be with the Jinchuriki, said Kakazu, cracking his neck before turning to look at the Toad Sage. A costly mistake on my part that won't happen again. I'll need to replace the heart you killed, and lucky for me, I can take yours. Jiraiya said nothing before watching 4 beings made of black thread, each with their own mask, come popping out of Kakazu's back. Kakazu understood his opponent wasn't in the talking mood, and thus, he spared no more words. The masked beings attacked the Sannin to get things started, with Naruto and Shizuka. Fuck. That hurt a bit, said the silver-haired man standing up from the tree he splintered with his body. The Jinchuriki's jutsu launched him quite the distance. The man had no time to think, as he moved his head back to dodge a punch from Shizuka. The Akatsuki member quirked an eyebrow looking at her. You look familiar. Have we met before? Shizuka spared no words and continued to attack the man. She hit him several times before kicking him back into the tree he'd already splintered, causing it to tumble down on top of him. Shizuka didn't stop there as a faint shroud of wind chakra coated her leg. Jumping into a front flip, Shizuka led with her wind-coated leg. Nadeshiko Ryukoha Senkai Jairi, Nadeshiko-style hardliner revolving cut, said Shizuka, dropping that leg with force. A deep gash formed in the ground while cutting the fallen tree in half. Looking down, Shizuka realized the Akatsuki member had moved and was standing behind her. He moves faster than I thought. That's why, Nadeshiko, said the silver-haired man with a grin while holding his scythe up. Such a fine village to offer to Jashin-sama and for Kakazu to stock up on good hearts. We weren't going to stop there, but Jashin-sama's will brought me to it. And now you're going to see all of your fallen sisters. The man was ready to cut into Shizuka but brought his head down to dodge a fast kick from Naruto, who came lunging at him full throttle. The man backed up as Naruto landed next to Shizuka, who stood up. Don't be blinded by revenge. You're better than that to let him get behind you, said Naruto, blue eyes hardened on the completely nonchalant man in front of them. The man placed his tri-bladed scythe on his shoulder before grinning at the two in front of him. Remember what Erosenin said. They're members of Akatsuki. We have to attack carefully. Hey, little girl, it was fun watching your village slowly die. Some got away, but the ones that didn't, I made sure they suffered, said the silver-haired man, egging Shizuka on as he continued. He could see she was the much easier target, and it just happened to coincide with being easy to goad into making a mistake. I made sure they knew that my face, my gorgeous face, was the last thing they saw before they died. Haiden, a follower of Jashin-sama, was the last thing your faithless comrades saw before death claimed them. Shizuka looked ready to murder as she cocked her hand back and sprinted at Haiden. Nadeshiko Ryukoha Reppuken, Nadeshiko-style hardliner Gale Fist, said Shizuka, approaching a now grinning Haiden. He had his scythe cocked back to let loose a swing the moment she arrived. Shizuka's progress halted as Haiden's scythe slashed through the air inches in front of her. Shizuka looked down to find Naruto's arm wrapped around her stomach holding her back. Naruto-kun! Why did you? Those markings I saw on the ground in Nadeshiko are a Juinjutsu. It uses blood as a link. You can't let him cut you even if you do more damage, or he'll be able to curse you with his technique, said Naruto, backing up with Shizuka as Haiden came rushing at them. I don't know what it links, but my little bit of Fuinjutsu lessons from Erosenin comes in handy here. Don't let him get your blood. It should be how he's able to link himself and his victim. Seems that last name of yours corresponds to some knowledge, Uzumaki, said Haiden, taking swipe after swipe after swipe at them that they were dodging easily. I don't get it. Why is he leaving so many openings when attacking? It's like he wants me to attack him, thought Naruto in his mind while splitting up with Shizuka when Haiden brought his scythe down in the middle of them. I guess he only needs a touch of my blood for his curse to work, but what happens if I kill him? He won't be able to do anything then. I'd love to see you try to kill me, said Haiden, shocking Naruto, who thought he said it out loud. Haiden smirked, seeing the shocked look on the Jinchuriki's face. No, you didn't think that out loud. It's just what all of you non-believers think when you face me. Too bad for you. I'm immortal. You can't kill me. A dozen kunai landed in Haiden's back from the Nadeshiko Kunoichi as he laughed at the kunai puncturing him. Shizuka looked quizzical at that as the kunai were lodged pretty deep, and he was bleeding profusely from the wounds. Except, he was laughing giddily instead of dying. Try as much as you want. You can't kill me. Neither of you can, said Haiden before turning and sprinting at Shizuka. Naruto's eyes widened while he sprinted to help Shizuka from Haiden. Naruto wasn't prepared when Haiden pulled out an extendable pike. Pike in one hand and scythe in the other, the immortal man did an unexpected spin. Shit, thought Naruto, leaning back into a slide. Blood flew in the air as Naruto's blue eyes looked fearful as Haiden smiled wide. Haiden lashed out with a fast kick that Naruto didn't block due to the blood floating in the air as Haiden kicked Shizuka away as well. No. Yes, said Haiden, licking the blood off his weapon, which caused his skin to turn black. Bone patterns appeared on his skin that were reminiscent of a skeleton. Faster than Naruto or Shizuka could react, Haiden punctured his hand before drawing his Juinjutsu design into the ground from the blood spilled. Here comes the best part. No, said Naruto before Haiden plunged his pike right into his chest. A pain scream followed. Jiraiya versus Kakazu, cartwheeling out of the way of several powerful shots of condensed wind. Jiraiya was on the move as one of Kakazu's black beings was showering him with powerful bullets of wind. Ending his cartwheel, Jiraiya jumped up to stick above the cave opening as a large torrent of fire exploded on the spot he was just at. Two more of Kakaza's black beings appeared next to Jiraiya as the toad sage smirked. Slamming a palm to the ground, the immediate area around Jiraiya warped before appearing to suck into itself like a black hole that managed to grab the two masked beings next to him. Kakaza's eyes widened at that before turning to see the real Jiraiya standing up on the cliff, looking down at him. "You reverse summoned them," said Kakazu as he lost contact with the other two, signifying they were dead. "Into the esophagus of one of my Boku's great toads," said Jiraiya, face still holding an unnatural seriousness to it. "Don't worry. You'll be following them soon. 3 down, 3 to go. This is an unnecessary fight, and one that holds no value any way it goes," thought Kakazu to himself as he looked at Jiraiya. "If I do kill him, his heart isn't enough to replace the hearts I've already lost. I could take that, girls, but that would put me still down 1. That does me no good at all. There's no need to be here still since I'm sure this man will take at least another heart to put down." Kakazu let the two remaining masked beings merge into him as a mask settled on either side of his head. The two masks sat there looking at Jiraiya as a flood of black threads poured from Kakazu's back. Kakazu spit up some of the black threads himself before looking at Jiraiya in his new form. "But who's to say he'll allow me to leave?" thought Kakazu before prepping to fight against Jiraiya, whose eyes widened when he heard a scream. Kakazu's own eyes widened when a burst of intense chakra filled the area shortly after the cry. "That chakra isn't Haiden's. Is that the Kyuubi? Naruto?" thought Jiraiya before taking off to his apprentice's location. Jiraiya pulled a Fuinjutsu note from his shirt's pocket to stop his student from getting out of hand. He'd thought Naruto was ready for this, but he was wrong. The closer Jiraiya got to Naruto, the more the rational part of his brain realized the chakra wasn't what he thought it to be. "That's not the Kyuubi?" Jiraiya continued. He had to make sure. Naruto and Shizuka versus Haiden moments earlier. The pain scream was like music to Haiden's ears as he let his jutsu take effect. That jutsu being aptly named Jujutsu, Shurji Hyotetsu, curse technique, death controlling possessed blood. The technique links Haiden to the person whose blood he has ingested as long as he stands in the symbol of his god, Jashin, which he draws on the ground. Any injury inflicted on Haiden, be it himself or his adversary, was equally imposed on the person he was linked to as long as he remained in the circle's radius. And thus you hear the blood-curdling scream as the stab was reciprocated on his target. Naruto looked on with wide eyes as he realized that he wasn't the one to get hit. It was Shizuka by Haiden's trailing side that she wasn't paying attention to due to the pike being revealed. From the blood beginning to pool underneath her skin, she was dying from a phantom wound caused by Haiden. Seems I missed the heart by a few centimeters since our bodies are that different," thought Haiden, realizing he didn't kill the girl just yet. Shrugging because it was no big deal to stab himself again, Haiden pulled the pike out before nearly stumbling out of his circle. His hair blew back due to an enormous power surge from Naruto. Mildly impressed by the powerful chakra being exuded, Haiden only shrugged as the distance was too far for Naruto to do anything, even as he sprinted toward him. "Let's try this again, shall we? I won't miss a second time, I promise. I have to make it. I have to," thought Naruto in his head, reaching out with his hand. A futile attempt to stop Haiden from plunging his pike into his chest once again. Any ranged jutsu he would use would harm Shizuka more. He needed to grab Haiden and get him out of that circle somehow. If only his reach were longer. "I'm going to make it, Databeo. Please let me make it." "Another sacrifice, Jashin-sama," said Haiden with his head up and eyes closed as the pike pressed into his chest. Haiden's eyes opened, and he looked down to see that his pike didn't even break his skin due to a golden chain holding him tightly. Haiden looked at himself to see the chain wrapped snugly around his waist, shoulder, and down his arm and held him perfectly still. Where the fuck did this chain come from? With a hand to her internally bleeding chest, Shizuka looked on at the chain coming from Naruto as she saw him doing the same. Haiden struggled to bring his pike closer, but it wouldn't budge at all. He couldn't move one bit from the surprisingly strong chain. "Let go of me, you brat, before I..." Naruto didn't care to hear what Haiden was saying. The Jinchuriki turned quickly, whipping Haiden out of his circle. Naruto flung the Akatsuki member off the cliff face with ridiculous force. That was the scene Jiraiya arrived at to see Naruto looking in the direction he tossed Haiden. Jiraiya saw the golden chain and gasped, recognizing it. Kushina's chakra chains. "The Gaki has those?" thought Jiraiya, seeing the chain dissipate. "Shizuka-chan. She's dying." "That circle," said Naruto as Jiraiya nodded his head. A poof of smoke occurred as a toad in a nurse's outfit hopped over to the injured girl and began healing her wound. Jiraiya walked over to Haiden's Juinjutsu circle before whipping out a paintbrush. Jiraiya drew a few lines over the symbol before channeling his chakra. The once black lines from Jiraiya glowed red before the Jashin symbol fizzled and evaporated into thin air. The toad had a huge webbed hand glowing medical chakra laying on her chest. It had been a couple of minutes before the toad's chakra stopped. Hours felt like they passed by for the Jinchuriki. Jiraiya turned his head back around to see Naruto looking at Shizuka. "She will be fine, Jiraiya-sama and Naruto-sama." The wound missed her heart. "I stopped the bleeding, and all she needs now is to rest," said the toad as Naruto's heart stopped beating out of his chest. "She will feel soreness and a lack of energy for a few days, but afterward, she should be back to full health. This Todo cream will help the healing process as well. Thank you, said Jiraiya as the toad nodded before dispelling in a poof of smoke. Naruto looked out to where he sent Hyden flying as he didn't see any sign of the man. They're gone. I thought you went QB, and I rushed here without thinking about them. Kakazu already grabbed Hyden, and they're gone. Naruto nodded his head before looking over at Shizuka and grabbing her bridal style. Naruto turned to Jiraiya, who saw the look his apprentice was giving him. We need to talk, said Naruto as Jiraiya only nodded his head at that. It seemed Naruto learned something interesting about himself, and of course, he'd want to know about it. Guess it's time to learn of your heritage. Thought Jiraiya, steeling himself for what was about to come. Jiraiya trudged on behind his charge and got ready to tell his pupil about his heritage. There was no way he'd get out of it now. Gotta stop calling him my pupil. Thought Jiraiya following behind the Jinchuriki. One day later, Uzumaki clan, said Naruto lowly while rubbing the spiral patch on his chunin vest that honored his clan. Jiraiya had just finished telling him that his last name corresponded to the clan. He was an Uzumaki for real. My clan. I had a clan. A whole clan and family. No need to have a breakdown here. I don't do all that sappy, feeling stuff, said Jiraiya looking at Naruto as the two sat in the small clearing they were in. Save that crying stuff for Tsunadeheim. She's all about that healing stuff. I just learned I have a clan. A family even if they aren't here, said Naruto holding up his hand as a golden chain protruded from it. Still not so good with the control from his adrenaline-fueled usage yesterday. Naruto let the chain sink back into his hand with plans to get to know the jutsu better in the coming days. His clones were about to be all over this one. Can I just let it sink in? For a little bit at least? Nope, my apprentice doesn't mope about stuff, said Jiraiya before smacking his head as Naruto's eyes widened, and he looked at the Toad Sannin. That's 3 now. And the third time's the charm. I'm finally your apprentice, said Naruto with a smirk as Jiraiya merely made a T with his hands. Time out. Time out. Time out. A slip of the tongue, said Jiraiya before pointing out to the lake their clearing was next to. If you were my apprentice, you'd be out there with her instead of sitting here with me. Naruto looked out at Shizuka, casually taking a dip in the lake, as he nodded his head with a small smile. Guess I'm your apprentice then. Jiraiya's pupil. That feels good to be able to say finally, said Naruto before looking at a confused Jiraiya. Naruto put up a peace sign before disappearing in a poof of smoke. Jiraiya was surprised before looking back at the lake to see Naruto already in the water, swimming next to Shizuka. He just might be my apprentice. Thought Jiraiya with a fond smile. The kid had impressed him, and they still had a year to go. I wonder how good you'll be, continued Jiraiya, imagining how much more Naruto would progress. Jiraiya shrugged since only time would tell. A lecherous grin crossed his face as he decided to do Jiraiya things. I believe there's a hot spring close by. Why don't I swing by and see if I can find some good research? With Naruto and Shizuka, so Uzumaki Naruto is a part of the Uzumaki clan. Who'd have guessed it? Questioned Shizuka looking at Naruto swimming up to her. Nobody, I guess. Definitely not me. I was always told I was an orphan, and I got my last name from our Shodai Hokage's wife, said Naruto holding the green necklace around his neck that once belonged to the Shodai himself. I didn't think I was one because everyone used to say Uzumakis had red hair, like all of them. Shizuka smiled at Naruto before taking a scrutinizing eye and looking at him closely. Not exactly the trademark Uzumaki hair, but you have everything else, said Shizuka as she placed a hand to her chin. Chakra chains are a dead giveaway from what Jiraiya-sama said. I should have known before then. You're incredibly dense about some things, most things. Well, everything really except for Fuinjutsu. Continued Shizuka, not seeing Naruto twitch at his intelligence being questioned. They say all Uzumakis are amazing at it, like a fish to water. And you've been getting that down pretty quickly without the clone hack. It's crazy. Shizuka seemed to be thinking more, but the stare from Naruto she was getting halted all that. His eyes were narrowed, and they got Shizuka to wonder why he was looking at her that way. Incredibly dense? Questioned Naruto with an eyebrow raised at the pretty girl in front of him. Shizuka smiled and nodded her head as Naruto slowly nodded his own in return. I'd rather be stupid than dying. Dense is better than a near-fatal wound to the chest, said Shizuka holding a hand to the phantom wound she could still feel. It didn't hurt but she could feel where it had happened. That was a low blow there, Naruto-kun. You started it by calling me dumb, said Naruto moving closer to Shizuka as they talked. Wounds can heal, said Shizuka chidingly, also moving closer to Naruto. But it'll always be impossible to get through to you. Maybe you just weren't trying hard enough? I mean, I am pretty dense. Would take a stab to the chest to make me realize how much I like someone, I bet, said Naruto with his face inches from Shizuka's now. Blue eyes staring into green, the two paused for just a moment. I was really scared that you were dead. My heart wouldn't stop beating out of my chest. Well, I'm not dead. But do I have to take another stab to the heart, or do you know what I want right now? Questioned Shizuka in a low tone that Naruto's body reacted to. He'd be dense if he couldn't see the signs. Naruto's eyes closed when his lips made contact with Shizuka. However, it wasn't the girl's lips. Naruto opened his eyes to see Shizuka smiling at him slyly with her finger over his lips instead of the kiss he thought she'd wanted. Was he wrong? While I want a kiss, spoke Shizuka looking at Naruto. She licked her lips just thinking about it before shaking her head. I hear great things come to those who are patient, continued Shizuka, getting Naruto's eyebrows to rise. Shizuka smiled and nodded her head. You got to wow me first. Then maybe you can get a kiss. I have to wow you. To get a kiss? Questioned Naruto, getting the girl to nod again. She went from trying to get him to marry her to waiting for a kiss? That was funny to think about and got Naruto to smile. Alright, I'll wow you, Shizuka-chan. Don't you worry, continued Naruto, getting the girl to smile when he kissed her finger that sat on his lips. Naruto moved back and just looked at her. We still have a year till we're supposed to return. I'm sure I'll get you by then. We'll see. You might fail, and if I do, I'll just keep trying until I succeed. Ooh, but what if I don't like you back? You won't just give up and leave me alone? You know that I know that you like me back. Plus, you know me better than that anyway, said Naruto, getting the girl's smile to threaten to split her face in two. I never give up. It's my Nindo Databayo. Which means someday, you'll be all mine. I can't wait. The two teens just stared at each other in the lake they were in. They had another year of this. It was to be fun. Chapter 5, The Spiral's Return. 1 year later, Naruto age 15, there's the gate Erosenin. Stopping for a second, Naruto was flanked on either side by Shizuka, who was looking at Naruto's home for the first time, and Jiraiya, who was just smiling. Naruto's blue eyes shimmered for a second before he took a strong whiff of the air and let it out in a relieved exhale. It felt good to see Konoha again. It meant one thing. I'm home, said Naruto in a content voice before turning to look at Shizuka. Shizuka only gave him a warm smile as Jiraiya did the same when Naruto turned to him. Naruto turned back to Konoha and just looked at it again. It looks the same, doesn't it? Always does, kiddo. They added Bachan's face to the mountain, said Naruto, spotting the fifth face on the mountain. Oh ho! Look at that, spoke back Jiraiya, seeing his teammate smug. The Sannin then realized they were just standing there, and not moving, and decided they might as well continue. Shall we? Naruto nodded his head as the trio continued their gate to Konoha. They arrived at the main gate and just strolled into Konoha, bypassing the gate guards who were awestruck at the three of them. The guards were looking at the blonde the most. Dude, that's Naruto? The kid got big, explained one of the Chunin gate guards, his name Izumo, to his partner, Kotetsu. Yeah, the little guy is all grown up, said Kotetsu, now noticing the girl he was walking with. And he got himself a babe during his travels. Oh yeah, Naruto, shouted the gate guard before realizing something. Dude, we just got disrespected. They walked in without stopping here first. Well, Jiraiya-sama never stops. I've never seen it since I started working here. True, but Naruto isn't Jiraiya-sama, spoke Kotetsu, nodding his head. He'd correct this next chance he got. We'll have to talk with him about disregarding protocol. Yeah, said Izumo, watching the group get further away. And we'll have to tease him about that babe he brought back. Where the hell did he find her? And could he get me one? Naruto, Jiraiya, and Shizuka all continued their walk through the village. Konoha noticed Naruto and Jiraiya as uncertainty and respect was given to the two respectively by the civilians. The shinobi were all happy to see the blonde back and were all impressed with how much he looked to have grown. The trio didn't pay much attention to what was going on as they headed to the leader of the village. It was a relatively short walk before they arrived at the Hokage Tower and walked in. Well, Naruto and Shizuka did as Jiraiya took to scaling the tower to enter the window as he usually did. Tsunade's assistant, Shizun, recognized Naruto immediately as she hugged him in greeting before leading him and his lovely companion to Tsunade's office. Opening the door, Naruto found himself the recipient of a bear hug the moment he walked in by Tsunade. Welcome back, Gaki. Glad to be back, Bachan. While Naruto hugged the busted Kage, he never noticed, or at least acknowledged, that Sakura stood by the woman's desk. And Sakura was utterly shocked to see Naruto. Naruto was back. Sakura didn't know how to react to that. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. A simple statement that was wholeheartedly true in most cases to warrant numerous life lessons, especially from people who've experienced losing something and the heart-wrenching moment of knowing they'd never get it back when it is all you ever wanted. Those people obviously didn't know how badly they wanted it. If that was the case, they'd have gotten it when they had the chance. At least in the case of Harino Sakura, as she stared absent-mindedly at the black-haired beauty standing awfully close to her recently returned teammate. Ino was right, thought Sakura, with her mind going numb to her surroundings as she watched Tsunade, Jiraiya, Naruto, and the aforementioned beauty named Shizuka all converse. They were smiling, all of them, and Sakura found out she couldn't take her eyes off the boy who vied for her affection since she could remember. And yet at this moment, she was strongly considering that their roles had reversed with a simple look at him after years of separation. Naruto was Naruto now. Different inflection to his name needed to be given when speaking about him. Before, he was an idiot with an effervescent personality, and known to everyone in Konoha to have an unhealthy and near-obsessive infatuation with Harino Sakura. Now, he probably had his personality and was an idiot still. Only he was taller, his voice had bass in it, and grew into something sexy. thought Sakura, hearing a second voice in her head as she looked at her teammate. Now standing a good half a head taller than her, Naruto had grown into a man. Broad shoulders, sharp jawline, and despite his light up every room with his presence demeanor, he had a more feral look and composure about himself. That all combined was effortlessly attractive while showing his obvious improvement as a shinobi, both mentally and physically, due to the way he spoke and how he carried himself. He looked coiled and ready to strike despite his friendly disposition. He was wearing a fishnet shirt hidden behind his chunin flak jacket that went into black pants and shinobi sandals. He had a black forehead protector on his forehead, and each wrist was tapped lightly. Sakura could see muscles that weren't on Naruto before, and they looked taut and sinewy. Naruto had really matured and he looked sexy. Sakura heard the voice in her head again before she realized that she'd been staring at her teammate for way too long without having made her presence known. Upon snapping back to reality though, Sakura saw the blonde walking toward her with his arms outstretched. Sakura blinked at that because she didn't think Naruto had seen her. "Sakura-chan, I've missed you," said Naruto, smiling warmly at Sakura as he wrapped her up in a gentle but snug hug. Sakura mildly blushed as she awkwardly patted the Kyuubi Jinchuriki on the back with a small smile. "How have you been, Naruto?" "You're back," said Sakura after a moment as Naruto nodded his head and let the pink-haired girl go. She saw him studying her with his blue eyes and remembered he asked a question. "And I've been good, great." "I see, you look great, Sakura-chan," spoke Naruto, returning his eyes up to look back at her green ones. "You don't look so bad yourself. Look at you, all taller than me now." "I knew I'd hit a growth spurt someday," said Naruto with a grin and chuckle. Sakura did not think that his smile and chuckle was husky. Nope, she did not one bit. "You ready now?" questioned Naruto, confusing Sakura, who had no clue what he was talking about. "The spar. You and Kakashi-sensei versus me and Shizuka-chan." "What do you mean?" "What spar?" Bachan was talking about seeing how much I've grown. She wanted to see me spar against you and someone special with Shizuka-chan as my teammate. I just figured the special someone was Sensei since he's trailed off Naruto with a grin, causing Sakura to tilt her head curiously. Tsunade and Jiraiya smiled before looking over at the window along with the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. "Hey, Kakashi-sensei. Long time no see, eh?" "Mama, didn't think you noticed me," said Kakashi, looking no different as he sat perched outside the window. His signature Ika book in hand, Kakashi turned and gave Naruto an upturned eye that looked like a U. It was how he showed he was smiling since the face mask he wore covered his mouth. "It's good to see you again, Naruto. You've gotten a bit taller. And the clothes, you've grown up well. Good to see you too, Sensei. You haven't changed a bit." Kakashi was a tall man with gravity-defying silver hair. He wore the standard infantry clothing of a Konoha shinobi, a flak jacket, dark blue pants, and a long-sleeved shirt. He also wears fingerless gloves with metal plates on the backhand and a blue face mask that covered his nose down to his neck. Interestingly, his shinobi headband was slanted across his head to only allow one eye to be visible. And hearing what Naruto said, Kakashi rose an eyebrow at what he said. "Not even a little bit?" questioned Kakashi, getting a shake of the head from Naruto. "I think I've changed some." "Nah, not a bit." "Not that that's a bad thing," said Naruto before jumping out to land near the masked man. Naruto smiled at him before continuing to speak. "I brought you a present." Drawled out the lazy teacher as he opened his lone, visible eye. "A present?" A holy light burst out the moment Naruto flipped his ninja pouch open as Kakashi's eye widened comically. "Is that?" exclaimed Kakashi in a rare show of emotion, while Naruto nodded his head and handed the shining present over. "Erosenin's latest book. Ika, Tales of the Golden Fox," said Naruto with a smile, seeing the excitement on Kakashi's face. This was the reaction he was hoping for. "He gave it to me to proofread during our trip and afterward told me I could have the first copy. I figured, why not give it to you since I know how much you like them?" Gratitude was written heavily on Kakashi's masked face as Naruto smiled. Tsunade then clapped her hands to get their attention. "Right, we have business to handle." "Like that of me seeing how the Gaki has progressed," said Tsunade with eagerness in her tone as she looked at him. "He certainly looked stronger, and from his movements just now, he was a much better shinobi. But I need to spend some time getting to know Shizuka here first. We have some things to discuss. So everyone out and we'll meet at Training Ground 7 in an hour." Simple nodding of heads was her answer as Kakashi vanished in a poof of smoke. Naruto beckoned Sakura to follow him, which the surprised pink-haired girl dumbly nodded to and hurried after her blonde teammate. Jiraiya wasn't so lucky as Tsunade grabbed his collar and held him firmly in place. "You stay. You get to help me and tell me all about your trip," said Tsunade as Jiraiya groaned and large tears were shed. "My research," cried Jiraiya as he was forced to stay and help Tsunade. With Naruto and Sakura 40 minutes later. "Ji-san! Another bowl!" shouted Naruto gleefully as the man he was addressing twirled his ladle in Naruto's direction to signify another was on the way. Naruto smiled at that before turning to see Sakura staring at him. Her look was one of awe mixed with disgust. "Something on the brain, Sakura-chan? Where do you put it all?" questioned Sakura, looking past Naruto to see 7 empty bowls of ramen. She looked at her own bowl, half-eaten since she couldn't put down any more, before moving her head back to look at him. Smiling sheepishly, Naruto only shrugged. "Seriously, where do you put it all?" I knew you liked ramen, but this much? It was the first food I was allowed to have when I was little. They were the first ones to give me a meal not sanctioned by Hokage Jiji, said Naruto with a small thank you as another bowl was placed down. Was kind of hard for me back in the day to get anything. I remember that. Why were people like that to Naruto? Thought Sakura, watching Naruto grab a large heaping of his noodles with his chopsticks. It's just my way of repaying them for their kindness. Ichiraku's is the first restaurant I ever ate at, and I can never thank them enough for their kindness toward me all these years later. Sakura heard the thoughtfulness in Naruto's voice before nodding her head. She watched him slurp down the noodles he had and smiled at him. He wasn't about to fool her. You just like ramen. Nearly 3 years without this place and you're making up for lost time, said Sakura, causing Naruto to laugh a throaty chuckle. A very sexy chuckle it was. Why do I keep thinking his laugh is hot? It's just a laugh. You caught me, Sakura-chan, said Naruto, taking a moment to cease his laughter to put another mouthful of noodles in his mouth. Sakura let a smile grace her face before she crossed her arms under her chest and adopted a smirk. Naruto noticed this and rose an eyebrow. What's the smirk for? Even after all these years, Naruto. You're still so easy to read. I thought you left to become a better shinobi? Questioned Sakura with a hint of smugness that caused Naruto to smile. I did become a better shinobi, Sakura-chan. Ramen's just my weakness is all, said Naruto, twirling his chopsticks around his noodles for a second. The action didn't go unnoticed by Sakura. She could see the shift in his demeanor, and wondered what happened. The moment before she could ask what, Naruto beat her to it by speaking first. It's not going to be weird, right? The question, so subtle in its asking, carried a bit of weight to it as Sakura couldn't immediately answer. She knew what Naruto meant by his question, which was actually a few questions all in one. It was crazy to think about how many questions were loaded in just that one. Questions like, would it be weird for Team 7 to operate without Sasuke? Would it be weird to replace Sasuke? Would it be weird for Shizuka to be the apple of Naruto's eye rather than her? Would it be weird for Shizuka to replace Sasuke on Team 7? Would it be weird in general? It took Sakura a moment to process all of that, and she was thankful Naruto wasn't staring at her. Naruto didn't know it or never acknowledged the fact that his eyes were seriously intimidating. The blue in his eyes was piercing and seemed to look at your very soul, like you couldn't lie to him or else he'd know right away. She was given all the time she needed to think about it, and in the end, she knew how to answer. Of course it'll be weird, Naruto, said Sakura after about a minute or so, causing Naruto to finally look over at her. But it'll be fine. We'll be fine. I miss Sasuke too, but what happened is what happened. We can't just leave his spot vacant forever, it'd severely handicap us. Continued Sakura, answering the multi-question bit by bit. And the whole Shizuka thing, it'll be fine. Just don't go PDING around me all the time. I'd rather not be a third wheel all the time. Naruto grinned at Sakura as he mentally thanked her for dissolving the awkwardness, even if only by a little. He was also happy that she knew his question was about more than one thing. Sakura was always smart, so Naruto should have known she'd hit the nail on the head in responding accordingly. He was even happier that her response was mostly positive too. You won't be a third wheel, Kakashi-sensei will be there, said Naruto, making Sakura frown. Sensei doesn't even pay attention to us most of the time. He's likely to not even notice or care. Thus, making me the third wheel. True. But me and Shizuka-chan aren't together, informed Naruto, causing Sakura's eyebrows to raise. Really? You both seem so close. Even that short time in the Hokage Tower said it, said Sakura in a statement that was really a question of why the hell not? Well, I wanted to come to terms with my feelings for you first. Whether it was a boyhood crush or something of substance. And I couldn't do that until I saw you again, said Naruto, taking a moment to pause before continuing. It was just a boyhood crush, it seems. I'll always love my dearest Sakura-chan, but it was just that, a crush. And that love was and is more for a teammate, comrade, now that I've gotten older. Sakura placed a hand to her mouth to keep from outright chuckling at Naruto, mimicking his own 12-year-old self's exclamation of her name as she allowed what he said to sink in. I guess it's kind of like how I see him currently. Sure, I feel about him like this now, but thought Sakura, looking at Naruto before resolutely nodding her head. There'll never be anything between us in that way. Especially since I met Shizuka-chan, said Naruto with a light blush tinting his cheeks. Sakura noticed the blush and saw the boy smile cutely, thinking of the girl. She's so great. Ah, Naruto, do you think she likes you back? I know she does, Sakura-chan. She's told me repeatedly. Then why haven't you both? I have to wow her first, said Naruto with a frown. His frown didn't stay long and was replaced with a smile. He then turned to Sakura and gave her a giddy smile. I'll wow her someday soon, don't you worry, Sakura-chan. It's bound to happen. I believe it, Databeo, said Sakura with a smile that Naruto reciprocated at his verbal tick being thrown back in his face. I'm going to wow you too, Sakura-chan, said Naruto, getting Sakura to oh at that. Not the same as Shizuka-chan though. You can't handle all this, continued Naruto with a flippant hand gesture toward himself. Naruto sported a challenging smirk now and nodded his head. I'm out of your league now, Sakura-chan. I'm quite the guy these days if you didn't know. Oh really? Questioned Sakura tauntingly while flipping her hair back as she looked at Naruto. She could feel her blood boiling. She liked how Naruto was talking and she aimed to talk her own talk. We all know I'm one of the beauties of Konoha. Especially with my attributes, continued Sakura with her own flippant hand gesture. Naruto had to give her that because Sakura looked mighty fine. Her pink hair was exotic too, so, yeah, Sakura was definitely right in her boasting. You couldn't handle me, hence why you've decided to pursue other options. You know it's true. I can and will handle you in a few more minutes. Wanna bet? Thought you'd never ask, said Naruto, putting down the money for the bill before sauntering off to the training ground with his teammate. Things weren't fully settled yet, how could they be? Anybody could say anything. Pretty words were just that, pretty words. Your actions in the future would really tell the story if those words were true. But a step forward was definitely made in the brief moment they shared, and for that, Naruto was glad he got it out of the way. I'm about to kick your pretty little ass, Sakura-chan. Sakura grinned at her teammate as the two of them made their way to their team's training ground. It was about to be on. Training Ground 7. Are you sure Naruto is ready for this? Questioned Tsunade to Jiraiya. The Toad Sannin stood right next to her in the rather large training ground. Naruto and Shizuka stood opposing Kakashi and Sakura as Jiraiya smiled. Jiraiya gave Tsunade a nod as he looked at his pupil. The Gaki is more than ready. Even for the likes of Kakashi, said Jiraiya with confidence in his student. Naruto had been ready 18 months ago. The boy now was something serious that even Jiraiya was proud of. Trust me, you're going to love how the kiddo has grown. Tsunade couldn't fault the man for his confidence. But Tsunade had watched Sakura's growth and she knew very well what Kakashi was capable of. Kakashi could probably take Naruto, Sakura, and Shizuka on at the same time if she'd asked him to, but she didn't want to strain one of her best shinobis. Hence the thought of a tag team match which still handled what she wanted to be handled. To learn the other skill levels and abilities since you all will be a team. This is perfect, thought Tsunade, clapping her hands together to get the four who would be sparring's attention. Hope Sakura and Kakashi don't win too fast. Tsunade looked at each of the four shinobis' faces to gauge their readiness. Kakashi was his usual nonchalant self and Sakura was looking determined as ever. Tsunade turned to see Naruto smiling jovially and Shizuka matching Naruto's happiness. They seemed a bit comfortable, but she could tell they were taking this serious despite their faces betraying that line of thinking. Are both sides ready? Questioned Tsunade as forehead nods were her answer. You have until sundown to capture your foes or it is deemed a draw. No killing or maiming blows of course, but don't feel you have to pull punches. I am here after all. Continued Tsunade, getting more nods at the rules. Seeing they all understood, Tsunade rose her hand before swinging it down. Hajime. A very forward rush came as Naruto sprinted at Kakashi. Kakashi blinked at that before internally shaking his head. Seems he hasn't changed since the bell test. Thought Kakashi as he prepared to defend against Naruto. Naruto reared back for an easily telegraphed punch as Kakashi lifted one hand, swatting Naruto's punch to the ground and getting the Jinchuriki to stumble past him. Kakashi let an elbow fly into the back of Naruto's head. That elbow caused the Jinchuriki to disappear in a poof of smoke though. Kakashi's lone eye widened when that happened before he flipped up his headband to reveal the Sharingan in his other eye. When did he make the switch with the shadow clone? Weren't you with him the whole time, Sakura? Questioned Kakashi to Sakura as he looked for any sign of Naruto. Sakura was just as perplexed because she thought she was with Naruto the whole time. She had no clue he'd been a clone. Trying to find Naruto was halted as Kakashi needed to whip out a kunai to block several deadly accurate kunai. Blocking the last kunai, Kakashi took a step back as a kick flew but inches in front of him from the Nadeshiko princess. Those kunai were perfect. And she's fast. Thought Kakashi before blocking a wheeling axe kick from the kunoichi. And flexible. Bet Naruto enjoys that. Kakashi suppressed a perverted giggle just as Naruto appeared a few feet behind him in a shunshin. Not even looking back, Kakashi didn't make a move to dodge as Sakura had perfect timing to intercept Naruto. Naruto barely noticed the pink-haired medic as a chakra-heavy fist went flying a little too close for comfort past his body. That punch, just like Bachan's. Thought Naruto before gripping Sakura's arm at the wrist. Sakura noticed Naruto grab her arm as she reared back her other fist to deck him with it instead. Though by the time her fist got there, Naruto was already gone. Too slow, Sakura-chan. Naruto whipped around Sakura's body and because he was still holding her arm, he whipped her right in Kakashi's direction. Kakashi noticed Sakura flying at him as he picked Shizuka up by her leg and tossed her over him toward Naruto. Naruto caught Shizuka in his arms as Kakashi turned around and nabbed Sakura out of midair. Naruto held on to Shizuka and upon looking up at Sakura, saw her holding a half-rammed seal. Shit. Thought Naruto, seeing a paper explosive float right in front of him. Curling into a ball as he put his back to it to shield Shizuka, Naruto felt immediate heat. Boom. Smoke and fire covered the area for a few seconds as Kakashi and Sakura waited to see the damage done. An explosive tag could be enough to kill someone, but Naruto was Naruto, and no way it would put him down. They didn't know what he could do, but from that simple exchange and his misdirection, it was enough to tell. And they were proven right seconds later, as the fight continued. 6 kunai came flying through the smoke of the explosion as Kakashi sidestepped them and Sakura bent at the waist to avoid the fast-paced kunai. Upon bending back, Sakura looked up to see Naruto in the air. His flak jacket was gone and he had soot on his face, but otherwise he looked fine. And he was grinning like a madman as Sakura was absolutely helpless. Before Naruto could drop a murderous double-footed stomp into Sakura's stomach, Kakashi met him a few feet above Sakura and pushed him out of the way. A series of taijutsu spawned from the student and teacher as the two were going blow for blow. Kakashi was impressed with Naruto's fighting as he was managing to keep pace with him. "You've gotten good," said Kakashi monotone as he blocked one of Naruto's kicks and felt his bones buckle at the force behind it. "Real good. And you're just a clone," said Naruto, hearing a sizzling noise coming from the clone's back. A paper tag was on Kakashi's back that was halfway done burning. "Not this again." Boom. Another explosion rang out around Naruto as Sakura looked on at that one while holding a half-ram seal. Naruto didn't notice her slap an explosive note on Kakashi's back when he went flying over her. The real Kakashi appeared next to her in a shunshin and nodded his head. His shadow clone's memories hit him just now and gave him a bit of information. "Naruto is really good with wind manipulation," said Kakashi with his lone Sharingan's tomo spinning around his pupil. His clone learned up close and personal how Naruto wasn't as beat up as he should have been by the earlier explosion. And also how he managed to survive the last one. He shielded himself with pure wind manipulation. "Impressive. Forget about me?" questioned Shizuka, standing behind Sakura, whose eyes widened at her voice. Pure reaction had Sakura dip her head down as Shizuka's fist went screaming over her head. "I can feel the wind behind that," thought Sakura, raising her head back up to see Naruto in front of her. A fast punch neared Sakura's face, but the timely block from Kakashi saved Sakura from taking a direct hit from Naruto. Then all hell broke loose as the four began an enchanting display of taijutsu that was really something to watch. Naruto had a clear advantage over Sakura, but any time he was about to hit her, Kakashi would intervene. And the same with Shizuka. Kakashi was by far greater at taijutsu than them all, but Naruto was still able to keep pace and help out Shizuka, who was faster than Sakura, who merely threw nothing but haymakers. "All it takes is one," said Sakura, sending out a punch or dodging with each word. Sakura was ready to send out another punch, but a sharp knee from Naruto cut her off as she doubled over. "He keeps catching me. How is he doing that? All that power means nothing if you can't hit them, Sakura-chan," said Naruto while raising a hand with his palm up. Naruto never even got to channel the chakra for a Rasengan as Kakashi managed to snag Sakura and pull her out of harm's way yet again. Shizuka frowned as she jumped next to Naruto to reset the spar. "So close," said Shizuka, having attempted to stall Kakashi to allow Naruto to take Sakura out. She failed to do so considering he managed to help out the in-trouble medic. A sheet of paper then fluttered in front of Naruto and Shizuka as her eyes widened. It was burning down as she wasn't ready for this one either. Another one. Futon, Kami Orosher, wind style, godly wind from the mountains. Naruto's reaction time surprised everyone as he extended his palms. A forceful wind blew out of Naruto's hands just as Sakura channeled her chakra to detonate the explosive note. Naruto's jutsu hit the paper seal first, and blew it toward Kakashi and Sakura before it detonated in a fiery explosion. Due to Naruto's jutsu, the paper explosive turned into a torrent of flames that went chasing after the now fleeing Kakashi and Sakura. Naruto ended his technique as he looked up to see a large, cone-deep scorch mark in the ground that glowed a deep red. Naruto blinked a few times before straightening up and raising both eyebrows at what just happened. "My goodness, Naruto-kun," said Shizuka, shifting her eyes from the glowing earth to look at Naruto. Naruto just shrugged before nodding his head. He and Shizuka took a small break before searching for Kakashi and Sakura to continue their fight. They knew this wasn't over by a long shot. With Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Shizen, that reaction time would make the Yandere jealous. Thought Tsunade in her head, seeing Naruto's movements. She'd seen it before with how easily he timed Sakura, but his catching that explosive note was insane. It's almost like he didn't even have to think of what to do, he just reacted. "I'm not understanding this. How did Naruto-kun survive a point-blank explosion?" questioned Shizen, holding her pet pig Tauntaun in her arms. "Twice. Wind manipulation." "Pure wind manipulation," said Jiraiya with a smile on his face. He could see how impressed Tsunade already was. And she hadn't even seen anything yet. "Just you wait, Haim," thought Jiraiya before continuing to answer Shizen. "Gaki has his own perfect defense. He developed it after reaching the apex of wind manipulation." "Wind manipulation?" questioned Shizen as Tsunade answered for Jiraiya. "Like the Hyuga clan's Kaiten, rotation," said Tsunade, trying to make sense of it to herself of what she saw. "Rather than expelling chakra through his tenketsu like the Hyuga, he's manipulating the air around him and forming a protective barrier. Though it's not an ultimate defense like the Hyuga clans," said Jiraiya, watching Shizuka fret over the soot on Naruto's body as his pupil was telling her he was fine. The moment before impact is made, Naruto shields himself briefly with wind. Powerful wind infused with his chakra so it won't catch a flame and accidentally ignite him. He keeps the air saturated in his chakra to make use of it anytime he needs to. It's quite ingenious of him to come up with that. "It's pretty impressive that he can do that," said Tsunade, more impressed than she let on with her words to not give the pervert joy. "A strong enough fire would set him ablaze if he tried that though. Of course. The Gaki knows his limits." "I made sure of it," said Jiraiya, smiling heavily because he knew Tsunade was envious. Her student had been getting finessed the whole time by his Jiraiya knew he was winning the pupil battle so far, and he was going to enjoy it, but he's steadily pushing the limits further every time. Not to mention, that's not all the Gaki has. Not even close. If there wasn't more, then I'd think you wasted time with my favorite ninja. No worries, Haim. The Gaki shall continue to impress. Sometime later, walking ever carefully through the forest, Naruto and Shizuka were looking for any signs of Kakashi and Sakura. Naruto had assured Shizuka that Kakashi was a tracking expert, and that his trail would be difficult, if not impossible, to find given their skill set. Despite that, Naruto just kept ambling forward through the forest with the girl in tow. Why'd you decide to start walking this way, Naruto-kun? Questioned Shizuka after a moment, which caught Naruto off guard. Scrunching his face up, Naruto only shrugged his shoulders before speaking. My gut told me to start a Naruto before beginning to slow down. The nearest body of water is over here. After getting burned, water would be the best choice, right? Continued Naruto, looking for any sign their adversaries were actually here. Sakura-chan is a medic though, so that point is probably moot. It was just a gut feeling, really. That's about the best I can come up with. Well, I think your gut is probably right. It usually is, said Shizuka, faithfully getting a grin from Naruto. The Kyuubi Jinchuriki stopped smiling though before sniffing the air and freezing. Shizuka was about to ask what was wrong, but she soon realized it. They actually were here. Okasho, cherry blossom impact, said Sakura with a grunt before the earth shook uncontrollably. Sakura's fist hit the ground and an enormous spiderweb crack formed that extended all the way past Naruto and Shizuka for a dozen feet. You're all mine! Shizuka managed to jump out of the way in time to avoid the uprooted earth, but Naruto wasn't so lucky, being in closer proximity to Sakura than Shizuka. Losing his balance, Naruto was defenseless as the pink-haired kunoichi was on him immediately. An X with his arms was brought up by Naruto as Sakura made direct contact with his block. A sickening crack was heard as Naruto went soaring out of sight into the woods behind them, uprooting trees, as he went flying backward due to the sheer power in Sakura's fist. Naruto-kun, thought Shizuka, having watched him take that super punch before whipping out two kunai and sending them to the right. Nailing her target of the approaching Kakashi, Shizuka's eyes widened when he poofed into a log. Replacement. He's really good. I see what Naruto-kun meant. Katan, Gokakyu no Jutsu, fire style, grand fireball technique, said Kakashi, standing behind Shizuka as he let loose a massive fireball. Shizuka dropped out of the tree she was in as the fireball went sailing above her out over the lake. Upon landing on the ground, Sakura was there waiting for her with a fist prepared. Shizuka's eyes widened at that timing. It was absolutely perfect, all to plan. Good night, said Sakura, bringing her fist forward. Sakura's fist was inches from hitting Shizuka until a hand pushed her punch to the side. Sakura's eyes widened and turned to see Naruto there diverting her fist. Naruto? How did he get up? Naruto stood to the side of the medic, palm open, as he used wind to push her fist off target. Sakura was astonished that Naruto was already back, and two, he didn't look like he'd been hurt at all from her punch. Naruto could see the question on her face and grinned. Kaze no Tate, Wine Shield, saves me a third time, informed Naruto, getting Sakura's eyes to widen. While Sakura thought she'd stricken Naruto, she actually just punched a wall of wind. She'd sent Naruto flying through trees, but those didn't faze Naruto at all. Jiraiya made sure little things like that wouldn't anymore. Sakura's punch would have knocked him clean out if he took it directly, even with a block, and Naruto wasn't having that. I didn't even notice I only hit wind. How did you learn such an ability? Questioned the medic in her head, watching Shizuka pull out a kunai. Sakura was about to be out of the fight until Kakashi appeared. Kakashi's Sharingan was spinning as he looked at the Nadeshiko princess. Shizuka froze in her attempt at taking Sakura out, which let the medic roll through Naruto's, pushing her off balance. She was saved again. Kai, said Naruto, breaking the genjutsu on Shizuka with ease. Naruto hadn't been paying attention though as Kakashi managed to shove a foot in his gut. Naruto grunted in pain before smiling. Gotcha, sensei. Another Kagebunshin? Then where is, thought Kakashi before he heard the sound of footsteps behind him. Turning his head to the noise, Kakashi saw Naruto approaching fast with his hands in the tiger seal. Oh no! Taijutsu Ugi, Senin Goroshi, ultimate body techniques, 1,000 years of death, said Naruto with his hands shooting ahead of him. Kakashi's eyes widened at the approaching Naruto as his student was moving fast. Payback time! Kakashi used every bit of strength he had to dodge Naruto by jumping straight up. Naruto missed Kakashi, but due to his continued movement, managed to hit the person only a few feet in front of the copy ninja, one who just gotten her bearings back after getting thrown so off balance by Naruto's clone. A sudden gasp was heard as Sakura fell victim to the dangerous technique. A tint of red appeared on everyone in the area's cheeks as Naruto did the only thing he could do, continue. A simple burst of chakra and Sakura was lifted clean out of the clearing, hands covering her pained backside. Everything paused for a second and Naruto was sure he'd be getting a reprimanding from Shizuka, Shizun, Tsunade, and especially Sakura. He still had a spar to finish first though. Suetun, Suryuden, water style, water dragon missile, said Kakashi, landing atop the lake as the water around him swirled and formed into a massive dragon. Kakashi watched his dragon speed toward Naruto and Shizuka as it detonated in the area in front of the two, sending a massive wave of water at them. Kakashi's original plan had him waiting for Naruto and Shizuka to come back after getting washed away. That would give him time to regroup with Sakura, but that didn't happen. Instead, Kakashi's Sharingan picked up on a chakra chain come flying his way. Kushina-sama, thought Kakashi in his head, narrowly avoiding the chain that was about to skewer him. Kakashi didn't dodge the second chain that came as it wrapped snugly around his waist, with the other chain beginning to encircle the copy ninjutsu. Looking up, Kakashi saw a completely soaked Naruto with a chain around himself and Shizuka that was firmly planted in the ground to keep them from washing away. The two chains around him were extended from his left hand as Naruto grunted in effort. "Get over here," said Naruto lowly while yanking the chain with a strong tug. Kakashi flew toward his student and attempted to put up a block, but the chains had wrapped around his arms and left them in a T. He was at Naruto's complete mercy. "No escape this time, sensei." The familiar swirl of a Rasengan entered Naruto's hand as he brought it in perfect line with Kakashi. The last thing Kakashi saw was Naruto's madly grinning face, mainly because that Kakashi was just a shadow clone that poofed away upon contact. "Should have known that wasn't sensei," said Naruto, thinking out loud as his Rasengan slowly faded out of existence. Naruto chuckled to himself before letting his chains retract before turning to look at Shizuka merely snicker at him. "What's so funny?" Shizuka kept giggling, which eventually made Naruto start laughing as he began to realize what she found so funny. "Get over here," said Naruto and Shizuka at the same time before their faces began cracking with more laughs. "Sounds like you should be in some battle or something. Like Mortal Kombat or something with that line," said Shizuka as the two began walking to find Kakashi and Sakura once again, even as dusk was nearing soon. "Yeah, and wear a cool mask or something. Be a masked ninja from hell or something awesome like that," said Naruto with a smile as he envisioned it. "Scorpion," said Shizuka. "Scorpion?" questioned Naruto as Shizuka shrugged. "Just came to me cause of the chain." "You know a scorpion with its tail?" questioned Shizuka as Naruto nodded his head at that. "Eventually, I could see it. But for now, we'll go with Naruto for the time being," said Naruto, not really liking the Scorpion nickname. Scorpions had nothing to do with him. "Hopefully, I can get a nickname like the Kuroi Senko Yellow Flash. That'd be cool, perhaps. But cooler is finding and actually beating Kakashi-san and Sakura-san," said Shizuka before looking over at Naruto. "Got a plan?" Naruto kept walking, and from his face, looked to be in deep thought as he walked with the black-haired bombshell. Naruto's face then eventually lit up as he then turned to Shizuka with a grin. "I got it. With Kakashi and Sakura, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to so kill him. How dare he do something like that?" shouted Sakura furiously with a hand rubbing her sore backside. Kakashi sat next to a tree as he decided to let Sakura get it all out before letting her know what they were going to do. While Kakashi waited, he began to think about all that he'd seen so far. Shizuka, a true Nadeshiko Kunoichi. Deadly accurate with kunai, and her taijutsu is very good. She complements Naruto in some ways with her more finesse versus his raw power, but she also doesn't mind getting up close and personal, thought Kakashi before thinking about his blonde student. The difference almost 3 years can make. I wonder if I'd paid him more attention what he'd be by now, and that's not even counting the Kyuubi's chakra he's yet to bring out, continued Kakashi in his head. That last part had him a bit intrigued. I debate if he fights with the Kyuubi's power, could he beat me? I'm already having a tough time trying to figure him out now. He's got such an interesting bag of tricks now. Kakashi continued to think about what his student had become before looking up to see Sakura still talking, with a bat. Then I'll wring his neck. Punch him through a concrete wall and, "Sakura, get down!" said Kakashi urgently as Sakura stopped her ranting when she heard Kakashi. Kakashi tackled Sakura to the ground just as Shizuka came soaring over the two with a foot outstretched. Kicking cleanly through a tree, Shizuka came to a stop in the clearing as she turned to see Kakashi and Sakura both standing up. "Sakura, I'm going to take Naruto alone and trap him in a genjutsu. Can you handle postponing Shizuka until I do?" questioned Kakashi lowly to Sakura, who only nodded her head. "Good. Be back soon." Kakashi then vanished into the woods where he could feel Naruto as Sakura heard a clash. Green eyes boring into green eyes, Sakura shifted into a defensive stance. Sakura then blanched when she saw Shizuka smirk at her before she came sprinting at the pink-haired Kunoichi. Sakura blocked the first strike from Shizuka before realizing that Shizuka was fighting completely different. Faster, stronger, and eerily just like Naruto, said Sakura with her eyes wide as Shizuka grinned. "Hi Sakura-chan," said Naruto rising out of the girl's shadow. He was grinning at Sakura, who looked utterly confused. "Thank you Ero-senin. Gamadera Kageyatsuri no Jutsu, Toad Flatness Shadow Manipulation Technique. A jutsu from Jiraiya's personal collection found a perfect use for misdirection by Naruto. After infusing his chakra in Shizuka's shadow, Naruto sunk in the shadow and became one with it. He did have temporary control over Shizuka's mind and body, which was why the girl fought like him. However, a 2-on-1 was much better. And Sakura realized they'd been had. It was all a ploy. With Kakashi fighting with Naruto for a few exchanges, Kakashi was beginning to realize that Naruto wasn't fighting like Naruto. Spending the first part of their spar fighting each other in taijutsu, Kakashi realized Naruto wasn't fighting as hard as earlier. He was just avoiding eye contact and defending for as long as he could. You're a clone, said Kakashi too late in his realization. The Naruto clone before him smirked, and Kakashi gave a smile. He knew I would want to separate and get him alone, and he played into that. Yeah, boss did. He's with Shizuka-chan and they should be finishing up with Sakura-chan soon. We both know that, and at that point you'll be stuck, said the clone smiling as the win was in hand. It's over, Kakashi-sensei, said the real Naruto as Kakashi looked over. The teacher saw Naruto holding a passed-out Sakura on his back with Shizuka standing next to him with a smile. Kakashi couldn't continue since his partner was trapped and captured. Naruto had gotten him perfectly. Well, not him, he got Sakura, but he'd won the spar considering the rules. The boy's misdirection was insane. Nothing but a smile was on Naruto's face as Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Shizen all came into view with smiles as well. Seems the Gaki really did learn something. That was a very impressive finish, said Tsunade, a warm smile on her face which Naruto reciprocated when he turned to her. You all did well. I really liked what I saw, Shizuka, continued Tsunade, getting the girl to blush at the praise. Tsunade just nodded her head and looked at Kakashi. You all start in 3 days as Team 7. Congratulations, and I'll see you then. Sounds good, Hokage-sama, said Kakashi, whipping out the Aika that Naruto gave him. He looked at Naruto while sliding his headband to cover his Sharingan. See you all in 3 days. Can't wait to work together again. Naruto nodded as the Jonin disappeared in a poof of smoke. Naruto then felt Jiraiya slap a hand to the top of his head as he looked up to the Sannin. Way to go, kid! You made me a little proud, said Jiraiya, getting Naruto to smile. And you didn't even show your best stuff yet. Good on ya. Dinner on me for the performance. Yada! Shouted Naruto gleefully and mistakenly waking up Sakura. And Sakura hadn't forgotten what Naruto did earlier during their spar, something Naruto realized with the painful grip on his body. Sakura-chan, your grip is kind of tight. 1,000 years of death, Naruto, said Sakura, saying Naruto's name in a way that promised pain, anywhere but the face. Despite Sakura kicking his ass, Naruto would say he was glad to be home. He'd missed Konoha. What if Naruto finds his love from training trip? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoyed this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel, and leave a like if you guys need the next part. Comment down, and thanks for watching the video, and see you guys in the next video.